Also a hero that can scale, if we're talking about the position 4, which you get items like Rod of Atos, upgrade it to Gleipnir later on, some Solar Crest, you're, transitioning really well.
Yeah, I want to touch on that position 4 Weaver a little bit more, because when Tundra played it, they were able to be really aggressive, they were able to take over a lot of this map, and if the game were to play out in an immaculate fashion, they would have closed it out in about 20-22 minutes. So Weaver might be hitting this pace, this tempo that you guys also touched on, that Gaimin Gladiators want to start bringing a little bit more with this meta.
Yeah, they were doing some really cool things with that Weaver, actually. I remember watching Nine just rotate mid behind the tower around minute 5 and just kill the enemy mid laner that Thompson had gotten really low. So Weaver is one of those supports that if it is flexed, it can just be played in ways that are very open in the game. And just back during the DPC, when support Weaver was very popular first pick material, it was Tofu who kind of brought it into the meta with the Vessel.
So I was going to say why the Weaver works so well for that Tundra was it was paired with the Grimstroke, so you could put the Inkswell on you and you go in and it was just this instant, almost guaranteed stun.
Yeah, this was the pairing that people were playing in pubs back in the days when Grimstroke was first introduced to Weaver and Grimstroke. So you put Phantom, you put the Swarm and the Inkswell. So you can't kill the Phantom, you can't kill Swarm, and you're also going to get stunned. And Grimstroke has been the hero that has been buffed. When I first read the patch notes, I'm like, this is pretty big, but after seeing the TI groups playoffs as well, this hero is just insane. The fact that you can time your stun, it makes him so much more potent in some of these earlier engagements.
Yeah, and by adding this Grimstroke to this draft, you can safely say that this Weaver can go against this Brewmaster in lane, because that's the way that you can solve this hero, is you punish it. You kill it over and over again while you still can. And that level 3 Phantom's Embrace, when you have to hit it 3 times versus Brewmaster, into another stun, follow up maybe from the mid lane, maybe something like a Shaker with a Fisher from a distance. If you can take out this Brew at the start of a fight, that is a way to solve this hero.
Oh, they went for Dark Willow. I wonder if it's position 1 Dark Willow actually for K1, and they practice it and they're gonna show us something new today. But I did think that they would go for Lely Skywrath Mage, because it's like it's really good to have silence against Weaver, or like some Bloodseeker, for example. Like that makes this hero like pretty hard to pull off. But once again, we don't see a lot of Bloodseekers in this meta, even though he has like a percentage-based damage, which is pretty cool against all the beefy heroes.
Dawnbreaker's still in the pool. It's the hero that synergizes well with Weaver, and also another hero that does have something to deal with Dark Willow. We talked about this being, heavy hard blade mail meta, but also untargetable heroes like Dark Willow and also Muerta. These heroes are very difficult to deal with, so you need some kind of AoE to be able to stun the hero. This is why I think Dawnbreaker comes in super handy. And also Chen. This is the hero that we haven't seen much being played at TI. They brought it against 9 Pandas, I believe, and it looked really good. He just dominated the laning stage, which also means that this Grimstroke is going to be played as position 4.
Yeah, I love how Gaimin Gladiators, like when in this meta where people playing like very long games, like 50-60 minute games, we've seen a lot of them. They're actually the ones who are like saying, no, we're gonna like fast push and we're gonna end the games like around 20-30 minutes, because people are not ready for that, like especially when they're like dominating their lanes as heavily as they do. Like it's very cool that they take this approach into the games.
Yeah, the last time that Gaimin played Chen, they won in 19 minutes. It was pretty wild. Like they just played the safe lane normally, they rotated the Chen through the gates, they got a couple of kills, they went mid and they just played on that tempo. So something to fit into that kind of tempo would be this Tidehunter who can buy the auras, can be something to center around and run down a lane with.
I think Slark is an amazing pick for Nouns right now. Nope. Earth Spirit. I mean, it's another beefy tanky hero that Gunnar likes to play, and they've been performing.
They don't have much control. The only control they have is this Phantom and maybe a leash mechanic, but that's about it. He's not afraid. Later on, when Tide picks up the shard, that's going to be the big one, and we've seen Tides picking up shard relatively early on. If this is not Dark Willow carry, I feel like there's a good potential to pick up Faceless Void. You did mention Slark, because I also don't see many counters. This is the hero with time dilation that destroys both Weaver and also against the Tidehunter, so you have something, you have, later on, really good initiation where you can kill Tidehunter from 100 to 0 with the Dark Willow, with some spells coming out from the Earth Spirit. So I want to see if they are going to decide to ban it out.
I don't want to see Dark Willow carry in this game. If you're playing Dark Willow carry versus tempo, you're not going to get to that mass in the game where you're strong enough. The thing about Willow is that she needs time to farm. She's a slow farmer. She needs space on the map. She needs to rack up those levels with her Midas, get to the point where she actually has attack speed to take advantage of the Shadow Realm, because she peaks with her like level spikes too. She peaks at level 20. So a carry Willow into a Chen lineup sounds a little bit on the suicidal end, to be honest. But I do think that this Earth Spirit was a great pick. It addressed the lack of control that Nouns had. You mentioned, Lukas, that Gaimin lacked it, but so did Nouns.
Yeah, and a little surprised that they decided to ban this Necro. I mean, Quinn did play it a lot, but they do have like insane amount of magical damage coming out. Spirit Vessel Buyer from the mid lane, from the Earth Spirit, the spell mechanic when Brew uses the split, but they're still gonna give it a ton of respect.
I think Necro is one of the better heroes in this current meta. The thing is that why we don't see him as much, because like we have a lot of like AA, Eng and Shadow Demon in the pool, and they're usually like, you know, picked early. But in this draft against Nouns, like it's a pretty cool pick for Gaimin Gladiators, so I really like this ban.
I like Sven potentially for Nouns. You get the cleave damage to play into the Chen, you got the Warcry armor versus Weaver. I mean, I don't really know what's left in this pool unless Nouns are insistent on flexing the Dark Willow to carry, which I mentioned I don't think would be a good idea for them at all.
I love this ban of Bloodseeker, by the way. That's what I mentioned. The hero is really good against Weaver, and you know, on the lane against Tide would be pretty cool as well.
10 seconds remaining.
I think Troll could potentially also work for Nouns here. They do have the 23 pick, right? So they can't necessarily catch them off guard completely, but Troll is one of those heroes that's strong on lane and easy to pick blind versus the enemy's last pick.
I think it's a free Slark game, but they have to understand how to, you know, delay the game and make this Slark viable, because Gaimin Gladiators are gonna go and they're gonna kill towers, you know, heavily with Desolator and Weaver, a lot of creeps from Chen, a lot of auras from Tide. They're gonna have this ball, and they need to, you know, understand how to team fight that ball right now.
Nouns are spending a lot of time thinking about their last ban. Probably still just going to be a mid Quinn hero that they want to take out here.
Like Pango?
Do you make sure you reckon it's just going to be Pango banned out?
I think you have to decide between Pango or Shaker, because both of those heroes are going to give Gaimin the control that they need, but also lane very well versus Earth Spirit mid.
Yeah, I was looking at the two heroes, Earthshaker and Kunkka, because they lane really well. They're going to ban Kunkka, which is going to leave probably Earthshaker as an option, now that there is Terrorblade as well. Terrorblade has been the hero for Gaimin Gladiators throughout 2023. They knew how to win with the hero, but they also know how to beat the hero, so I think Nouns rounded up their draft nicely. It's they have a little bit of everything on their side. Good team fight, the spell, good scaling as well. This is also the team that does tend to play slightly longer games. They have 3 games over 60 minutes, and they won 2 of those.
Is it enough on Nouns though to...
It really is. For the memes.
Yeah. Look, Reza said you ban it, they didn't ban it, and so he did pick it. So in a way, you definitely knew that one was coming, Reza. So we'll talk about all Gaimin Gladiators draft as a whole in a little bit, because right now I want to know, is Nouns going to hit these timings for TB? Are they going to be able to come up against a tempo that it seems Gaimin Gladiators have already set in their draft?
I think it's quite scary when I look at this TB, because while he does give them the damage they need and the late game scaling, I don't necessarily think that this Nature's Prophet plus TB lane are going to punish this Tide enough. Normally you pick this TB if he has a favorable lane matchup, get kills on the offlaner, punish him, but it feels like still a very good lane for the Tide.
All right, we're not going to have too much time to talk about this, because instead we have a coach's interview with Slacks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my friends. I am here with Steedy, the coach of Nouns. Oh, feels pretty good, huh?
Feels pretty good. This arena is amazing. The atmosphere, I love it.
Are you ready for it? Can we give him one USA, please, guys, if you could?
Brazil, Brazil.
We'll get there after this series and when you win, for sure. All right, now, a few questions for you. Of course, first pick Brewmaster, you know, a standard for you guys. The question is, though, are you baiting them? I mean, we have a first pick Weaver for them. We have Quinn's famous Pango. Were you expecting these?
We were 100% sure he would Pango. So we were totally prepared for it. We knew he would do it. The meme is real, you know, 2023. Pangolier.
Okay, fantastic. Now, my heart sank when I saw that Dark Willow. I thought you guys were getting baited like every other team around here and looking for the carry. Did that ever cross your mind in there? Anyone begging for carry Willow in there?
I'll tell the truth, I baited everyone because I asked the EG analyst about Dark Willow carry, and he's like, I'm going to tell my carry to play it. And then everyone started playing it, but we don't. And then everyone was baited. So, mind games.
Mind games. All right, final question for you. You guys locked in that Terrorblade. You're against very good Terrorblade players, famous for that. Are you prepared to face off against that TB? Or not let them have that TB? They know how to beat your TB.
I believe Actor.
Or do they?
I believe Actor is the best player with illusions. So I trust my team. Definitely GG is an amazing team. They know what to do. But we are playing our strategy, no matter if they understand it or not.
All right, well, I don't understand anything about Dota, my friend, but I do understand we're in for one hell of a match, so let's go ahead and throw it to our casters!
It's been a long road to get here. 6 years of qualifiers, majors, and TI, but we're finally back. Finally back in the Sanctuary in Seattle, the Cathedral of Dota 2, the home of the best competition in the world. Welcome back to the International.
And what a match to start it off, right? I mean, they threw me in here with my ex-teammates, but this is definitely a grudge match if you've ever seen one. NA Dota, South America Dota, combining in one team to take on the Western European powerhouse that has just destroyed the DPC season this year. An underdog, a champion, but only one of them continues, and one of them will go home today.
This is absolutely, I mean, everybody is setting this up. It's a David versus Goliath matchup. The North American and South American group is definitely the underdogs against the three-time major winners. But Nouns were also once upon a time looked as the third best team in North America. And then they took down all of their competition back to the NADPC. They ran right through it, and they have now proclaim themselves the best North American team, and maybe they could do much, much more by being able to bring down what was once the best Western European team.
And if any team has insider info, it's going to be Nouns, right? I mean, you have Les Lau out here. He's played with Quinn. They've been on the same team before. He knows how he wants to play, knows how he wants to abuse this mid lane, and that's been one of the secrets to gaming success all year. How do you deal with the support rotations? How do you deal with the mid lane matchups? Can you shut down the side laners while all that's happening at the same time? And this is another gaming lineup that is driven to go high ground early if you give them a start. Chen, Tidehunter, these are two of the heroes they've gone back to. We saw that Necroban as well, just to get the trifecta out of there. You give them a lead at 20 minutes, they're going to be pushing tier 3 very fast. You have illusion heroes, you have a Furion, you can stall this map. Can you stalwart the tempo that comes out from gaming and get yourself into that mid late game where you can shine? Because you have Earth Spirit, you have Brewmaster, these are heroes that have won Nouns so many mid late games, as long as you can get there in one piece.
And we're going to start off Nouns needing to be able to win this early lane, and starting off with the first blood. Celery is going to go down. Gunner will clean it up with a boulder from downtown. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we also have a fight on the other bounty rune where they are going to be able to get a kill. So it is a trade-off. Nouns do manage to get the first blood, particularly for their mid laner is very important. That'll help in this mid matchup. Gunner versus Quinn, a matchup that we have seen time and time and time again. It used to be in the NADPC all the time. Quinn making a name for himself as one of the best laners in North America, and then became one of the best laners in the world. And Gunner was always kind of in his shadow.
These are players that have studied under each other. Like you said, played against each other a lot. They played against Sumail a lot too. So if you're going to learn from somebody, become the next protege in that sense. These are the two guys who have been there and are willing to do it. I will say Quinn has gotten the better of Gunner in a lot of these lane matchups, right? And if you're Nouns, you go into here, you're kind of expecting Quinn to win the lane. That's not a big deal. What the bigger question is what happens after that. And I think Gunner has shown that, sure, you can win the lane against him. He's going to get one of his signature heroes. He's going to pop off, and he's going to dictate the mid game a lot more than you are. They knew the Pango was coming as well. They know it's not a real hero, so they know this matchup's not a real matchup. It's just a matter of who imaginarily gets out of it more. I think Gunner's going to show up today.
I mean, that's the great part about Gunner, right? Is that this is a player who I think Nouns buck a lot of trends, and one of them is definitely the fact that Gunnar is the player out of all the teams in the top 8, the mid laner who will take the least amount of farm, and he will just try and make plays happen as early as possible. He is a tempo player. He once told me when he was playing on in Southeast Asia with the Jinnabrews team, he told me, I don't care deaths. I do not care deaths. I only want to make plays happen, and there's a play right there. Celery finds an opening, being able to kill Lelis. Now, it did cost Donator. You had to run down the river quite heavily to be able to find that. Moo was free farming during the meantime, but it does kind of set the tempo here of Gaimin Gladiators are looking for kills, and they will catch you out if you shred a little bit too far away from the lane. You see Yamson under a bit of pressure there under the Tidehunter Grimstroke play.
Donator's going to cost him a lot. I mean, this is a great start for Celery, though, and I want to highlight the Chen in this game, because that 20-minute victory Gaimin had with Chen, it was all Celery, right? He dominated the safe lane, rotated mid, ganked that lane twice. That tower died at 8 minutes. Game just imploded. So if you give him a fast start on one of his signature, jungle heroes out here, you're going to have auras up, you're going to have the pace. And you don't have a lot of outspam or tower defense. That's the one downside of the lineup for Nouns. They really want to take these skirmishes around the ults, particularly between the Brew and the Earth Spirit here. That's why the XP might be more important for them than the CS. You're talking about they don't care deaths. I mean, deaths determine XP. Pauses determine a mental state.
And unfortunately, we're going to take a little bit more time to figure out all the issues here. Is this NA Dota? Well, a lot of pauses.
Yeah, they didn't host this game on US West.
I mean, K1 Hector, he's like, I'm used to this. This is every single game for me.
I mean, I think Hector's confused because he probably has negative ping compared to what he's normally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This man is always working on at least 90. The shackles are off, and K1 Hector has shown it in addition to Nouns, who has done a lot of work for them. When you come to this idea that Gunnar is going to be taking very little farm off the map. He wants to be making plays. He wants to find openings, find kills, set the tempo of the game aggressively. You need somebody to be able to pick up the farm game, and really nobody better than K1 Hector. You talk about the player who takes the least from their position. Now you're looking at the player who takes the most from their position. K1 Hector is by far the biggest farmer in this tournament.
I mean, there's a reason Hector communicates the way he communicates, right? We've all been in a pub with Hector. Well, I say all of us. I mean, these guys have it.
We've been there,
Let me tell you, Hector, he just screams on the comms the entire game, give me mana, give me salves, give me stacks.
Yep.
Stop feeding and I'll carry.
That 100% K1 Hector, stop feeding, stop feed, and I'll carry. That's exactly what that's his vision of the game. Is he is a hard carry player, and there's a reason why he says that. It's true. If you stop feeding, this man will carry games. He knows how to do it in the late game.
Can you bounce it out? Can you make him work? That's the interesting about these two teams as well. They had these additions that they brought into the rest before. Hector for Nouns, Quinn for Gaimin, and it's changed the dynamic of the team, right? It creates another threat they can play around that gives the team a lot of vision, a lot of purpose in the game. And if you make these players succeed, they will indeed carry you in a lot of these clutch situations. Hector on a Terror Blade, that is a nasty combination. We've seen him be, I think, most proactive on the Chaos Knight, right? But this is a hero that functions very similarly. He can control the map, dictate when he wants to fight. So if he's the most farmed hero going into 30, 40 minutes, you have a decent chance to just shred the front line of gaming here, unless they already have the auras up. Still, a lot of it coming down to this mid battle, and damn, is it close. Within 2 CS here for Gunnar going into Quinn.
Yeah, and he's got a creep wave coming underneath tower, so if he gets these last hits, which he does with a quick kick, he'll be able to actually secure a CS lead over Quinn. I mean, bottom lane, though, Donator is going to be in some trouble. Moo, seeing the opening, Yamson's going to be in rotation. They'll collect not one, but 2 kills in the bottom lane.
Just as I was about to say, where is this Furion going to rotate? Because the mid-rotation looks hard if Quinn is this high HP on a mobility hero. You also have to keep in mind when you leave this Terror Blade alone, he's going to get punished, but that is exactly what you're looking for in this early game. Quick rotation into the double kill, shut Donator's tempo carry down on this Weaver. Not a hero that likes to play from behind, and just gobble up that experience on the side lane. If you're Nouns, your next biggest priority in this game is probably 6-minute power rune, 7-minute wisdom rune. You get all of those for your 2 supports, you're going to be in a really solid position to contest these tower pushes when they come with the Tidehunter Meteor Hammer and the Chen grouping up. We'll see if these supports continue to make moves. It's also going to come down into Celery, whether he looks to try and rotate top or mid on this Chen. A hero that can do similar things.
Meta going to be popped here. So damage thrown back the way of Gaimin Gladiators, but honestly they walk away from that. Not too damaged at all. So meta pops, no kill found. I would say a small victory for Gaimin Gladiators whenever that happens.
Still waiting for Celery's rotation though. He just feels pressure to stay bottom on Dyrachyo given the ice armor. This isn't a lane they dominated, which means the Chen's gonna have to linger down here maybe longer than we saw in some of those other Chen games from them. Honestly, this feels like a solid start for Nouns outside of, I mean, Mu is struggling, and Mu is continuing to struggle down here. It is a hero in the Brewmaster that can operate with XP alone, but damn is he poor. He's gonna have to make it up in some of these fights.
Yeah, only just now getting that earned. So those kills they got earlier, not worth as much. Yamsen gonna be in some trouble here. Underneath his own trees, he's gonna teleport away. Ace cannot complete the kill. He walks away, damage done, but the damage on a Furion really doesn't mean that much, considering the fact this hero can just TP right back out to lane.
I mean, the thing is he used teleportation instead of the scroll, so he actually can't make a real move off this. He's just gonna refill mid. So give up some breathing room to Gaimin, and I mean, their cores are starting to take over the lanes right now. You gotta keep in mind this Meteor Hammer on the Tide will eventually kick Hector out of top. This Weaver Brew matchup is very good. So now, I'm looking at Gunnar, right? You get 6-minute power rune here, you have Magnetize up, you have a lot of potential in the tank to get a good fight out of this first ult on the Earth Spirit, especially with how much Gunnar did on this mid lane. He's 500 net worth up on Quinn at 6 minutes. This is a crazy net worth differential for a player we're used to seeing just win the one-on-ones.
I mean, that Earth Spirit laning phase, this hero does so much with that Boulder Smash. They're gonna go for the power runes here. And it is going to be top. So, haste rune for Quinn, big pickup. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Moo's going to take a little bit of aggro here from Dyrachyo, and not much Moo can do to fight back. Particularly in a 1v2, but up against Frost Armor and his Harpy. In fact, Moo may have stayed a little bit too long. The Lotus might be able to keep him alive. We'll see whether or not Dyrachyo wants to complete it. He does manage to get that kill. Celery picks it up with a bit of lightning. Dyrachyo is going to take a lot of damage on his way out, but managed to dodge the brambles pretty smoothly there.
And that's Javelin Rush. So this is aggressive build for Dyrachyo, using the fact he has ice armor and some extra Chen regen. Just maxing up the DPS straight into the Maelstrom here, trying to punish Mu as much as possible with the opening they've created. And damn, some good creeps for Celery, right? You cannot ask for anything better out of the jungle early.
Seriously, yeah.
Is this going to allow him to make some aggressive moves as he wants to? 7-minute Wisdom Rune will not be contested here, but it will get split. So, okay news for Nouns. I think they had a possibility of getting 2. You always have it with the Furion, but Yamsen looking for a bigger prize.
They know they're going for the 7-minute Wisdom Rune, which leaves Ace alone. Yamsen's going to try and take advantage of that with the meta still halfway through. If they can just body block him a little bit, that's going to be enough. With this scan, they saw the Grimstroke. Okay, he's picking up the 7-minute Wisdom Rune. Let's make a play in this top lane. A big kill. Even bigger if they can get Dyrachyo as well, but Celery, he's going to try and stop this. In fact, they push damage back onto Mu. A teleport coming in now as Gunnar's going to make his first rotation out, but it looks like he may be a bit late unless he really wants to dive the tower. But he doesn't want to throw away that net worth lead he has.
Only 2 points in the Rolling Boulder. Not low cooldown enough to convert on the kill, so that'll be another missed opportunity for Gunnar. Still trying to put this Magnetize to use.
Quinn's going to make use of his Ace Rune he picked up earlier. Yamsen just wanted to be able to get a little bit of levels. Gunnar rolls in, tries to save his support, and that's going to be enough. Quinn checks out the other direction. 8-minute power rune, though, is coming up, and both teams are going to be fighting for it. The fighting continues in the side lanes as well.
They really want this Weaver bottom before the time lapse comes out. This is when Dyrachyo's still susceptible in this lane. You have so much nuke damage. You want the urn charge.
With the blood grenade, he's got stick charges. Nice silence.
Sega,
out the support from
bravo.
Might just be enough to change this fight. Dyrachyo finally comes in. They do trade out cores.
And they get a lot of the Chen creeps off this, honestly.
Oh, Yamsen, he's got no teleport and no TP scrolls, so it's going to be a 2-for-1 in that regard.
So you traded Chen creeps and the Weaver for 2 on the side of Nouns. You did get an urn charge off the death for Mu, so a little extra potential there off the max Cinder build. The lanes are going to start to build up here, and I mean, Celery, he got so much out of that bottom, man. This Chen is
look at this rotation. Ravage straight up into the Meteor Hammer. With the supports coming in from behind. He can silence him and make sure there's no chance of getting off the Sunder.
I'm surprised Hector didn't get this line up here. He'd already thrown out the Sunder. I mean, this is a Hammer Tide, a tough lane to stand on when he has the mana for the Ravage. Connection's just too easy here. Now you're going to get the pressure of the tower. Can Hector come back this lane? Probably not still. Unless Nouns are willing to rotate more cores up here, which you could do as you're still holding on to this Magnetize on Gunnar. Just not found the opportunity to use it.
Oh, he really hasn't. Dyrachyo He'll accept the Curse Crown stun, which is going to set up into Gunner. Now he's already popped the Shikuchi, but he does have time lapse, and they don't have enough control. Doesn't have his level 6 yet. Just a little bit away, but he's not going to be able to get it. Meanwhile, Quinn, very efficient use of his Arcane Rune in that play, as he managed to come down here, get a kill with that Arcane Rune, has his abilities back up. They are definitely beginning to get a bit of a lead here on Gaimin Gladiators, which is scary for Nouns because they haven't even taken any towers yet, which it is coming. Chen and a Meteor Hammer, you're almost guaranteed as Gaimin Gladiators to have a tower lead in the next 5 minutes.
And the Roshan threat, very high in this game with the Swarm plus the minus armor Chen's going to give you with a fast Solar Crest here. Gush on top of it, Pangler coming through with Lucky Shot. It's another one of those tempo lineups that can just decimate you with the armor differential here. So yeah, you give these small openings, they're going to run away with it. Hector did manage to go top and defend that tower at least, so you're going to repel some of the speed Ace was coming out with here.
Yeah, but as he shows himself immediately as smoke up, not only they secured the 10-minute power rune, but if Quinn can connect here, it would be massive for Gaimin Gladiators.
Sunder coming back up. 3 seconds on the cooldown is now up for Hector. So there's turnaround potential on this play. If you cannot burst him here, it could go really wrong.
They're going to get on top of him. Silence and the stuns. K1 Hector doesn't really have much help coming in. They're going to use the Rolling Thunder. Last bit of damage required is going to have to come from Quinn, but they do manage to get up the Sunder onto the support. Yamson is going to be sacrificed to keep K1 Hector alive. And you have to TP back all the way back to the fountain, so it's not even like base out of that. Meanwhile, though, Dyrachyo did die in the bottom lane, the first use of the split from the Brewmaster, and they're also going to get that tower.
Just got run down off the root from Lelis, and this is going to result in a very fast tier 1 out of nowhere that was on a safe lane. Gaming we're doing pretty well in, right? So this is a lot of catch-up farm for Mu, putting the first ult to pretty good use here, extra XP.
And he's going to catch up even more if he can complete that Hand of Midas pretty soon.
Oh, that, I mean, you get the Midas here for Mu, I think you're really happy with how this early game ended up, considering of how much pressure that lane was creating on you. Just got to turn it around, big core kill into the tower, into an acceleration item. Yeah, you're really happy with that, especially if you can use this next Brew ult to defend mid.
Yeah, the question is that too greedy, right? Because you know Gaimin Gladiators are going to be putting a lot of pressure on you in this next 10 to 15 minutes.
There's some truth there, right? Like, you're giving up an early fighting item to go for this Midas, and you know the tower pressure is going to come fast. I mean, you go in and Midas a Chen creep and say, I did my part, team.
Underneath tower, but it may not matter. Good Terrorize, though, coming out from Lelis. This may buy Gunner some time to get more magnetite stacks onto Quinn. Nails him with the next rolling bobo as he tries to swap buckle away. Locked in, though, by Tofu. Great spellbound, and they're going to be able to catch him inside the hammer. The chain stuns are real, but Gunner is somehow still alive. With the magnetite, he's going to chase after Tofu. Tofu gets the armor. What a turnaround for him. Lucky the guy showing up just in time. Really trying to finish off his support and walk away while K1 Hector is feasting on heroes right now. He shows up last of the fight, but he will claim lives here. Oh, Ace actually not too afraid. He's going to try and get this Meteor Hammer in time, but Yamson's already teleported away. The tower survives for now, but damage is done, and Ace is still here with that Meteor Hammer.
Did clean up some Chen creeps. I mean, very good shield rune on the end for Gaming, and Ace just powering through with the damage in this fight. That is an absurd amount of damage for a Tidehunter to be doing at 12 minutes in this engagement. You can show how much, I mean, it shows how much Nouns want to defend this mid tower, and you can't blame him. You hold this tower for another couple ults. It secures a lot of your map, buys Hector time. There's just no way to stop it. It is inevitable. Ace is inevitable, as he has been all season long. He will push himself to the top of the board here, having a tremendous Tidehunter game. And he's going to become an issue because you don't really have direct burst damage or stack building heroes to take him down. There's a lot he can dispel in this game between the Dark Willow, the Magnetize. You can toss him in the air and take the fight 5-on-4. That is a route Nouns can think about going, but for now, Ace is going to be a brick wall.
A brick wall that is particularly important for Gaimin Gladiators, as much of their success throughout the season has been based around him and his playstyle, which that did become weaker with some changes in the game, but it seeams like Gaimin Gladiators have maybe found a position for Ace to really take over the game. That hit again, nice hit with the Terrorize, line it up, Gunner easily has the control to bring down the Weaver.
And this is going to be Nouns' biggest target the whole game. Dyrachyo, we've seen him on this Weaver before, right? He has some bad deaths, but this is also a hero that's very susceptible once you start getting killed once. It just starts rolling. That's a 4th death for the Gaming carry on a hero that ideally will give them Roshan and a siege mechanism at a certain point. Still level 9 on the Weaver at 14 minutes. He is falling behind in XP. Nouns got a few more cheeky kills on him. This is a way to just bump your supports up, help you take those tower defense fights.
Yeah, who cares if they're taking all your towers if their hard carry is still poor and cannot outmatch the Terrorblade. Try to roll in, Quinn. Invisibility and managed to sidestep that boulder coming across. He's going to get some information out here, though they do seem to know he's here. Can they bait him in somehow? They're afraid there's more behind him, so they're just going to back out.
This is your defusal timing on the Pango. Ravage back up for Ace. He's a little bit off the blink, but it did prompt the smoke from Gaimin to push into the Nouns triangle. However, they vacated it. For whatever reason, they knew it was coming. However, they're just going to run it back. Ace trying to control both jungles right now. Without a blink, this initiation's a little difficult. Will Hector see it coming, the tree line?
If they get around, just around this corner and find him, maybe it's possible. Slow him down. Get on top of him as well. The Ravens are going to go out. Big burst damage and no mana and silence. Too much for Hector to deal with here.
Very nice connection. Just enough reach.
The worst part for Nouns is they were making a smoke move at the same time. So
yeah, they were looking for Ace. Trying to preemptively read this. This is why Hector was there in the first place. Almost gets baited by the own move. And hey, 15 minutes already pushing into tier 2. With Chen to back it up on the Skelly boys adding their aura.
I think this is the part that I love about this matchup. I feel like Nouns and Gaimin Gladiators have both bucked the trends when it comes to the heroes and strategy of this tournament. Nouns certainly have their own list of heroes that I think are special to them. Meanwhile, Gaimin Gladiators, I mean, playstyle-wise, everybody's going like 50, 60 minutes in these games, but Gaimin Gladiators, they're ending games at 25 sometimes.
This is a team that does not care what anybody else is doing right now. Yeah. They're going to speed it up. And like you said, both these teams, I think, are two of the faster teams this tournament. They're happy to just take these fights. Win it in the mid-game. If it goes late, I mean, they always have a backup plan. And I feel like Hector is probably the better backup plan here, but, man, we've seen Weaver scale a lot harder than he used to in a lot of these matchups. Especially when you have a bunch of Auras and Tidehunter and Chen behind you. And there's also just not a huge amount of control for Pangolier in the late game. That's one of the things. I mean, we saw Steenie talk about they knew this Pango was coming. I feel like everybody knew it was coming. Can you stop it anyway?
Magnetize builds up, kills not only the Chen, but also...
That's pretty value. That, honestly, very value here. Every time you take Celery off the map, you're slowing Gaimin down. You're slowing down the next objective. Huge amount of gold into Gunner's pocket. Frees up the map. And I mean, Gaimin were just split, right? We're talking about them abusing the fact they have a very strong ball. They were waiting for this Ravage to be back up. Rare misstep will cost them some time, and that is time for Hector to get the lanes out, or at least attempt to.
He kind of has to, otherwise they're going to lose too much control over Roshan. The next objective for Gaimin Gladiators on the list. They have a 3,000 net worth lead. They could take away this last remaining tower. They're going to have really good control of the Roshan pit, and you said they've got a great team to take it too.
It's just a race to the teamfight items. You're looking for Radiance on Mu, give you that huge AoE damage in the fight. But you're also looking for these big auras on Gaimin in the pipe on Celery and the BKB on Dyrachyo. That's a very big item for them as well. We'll make sure that they can man up in this Roach pit, deal with the Terrorize, deal with Tornado, all these AoE spells that Nouns are trying to throw on the Weaver. Pretty much useless, and you don't have the physical to burst him yet. If Mu can get this Radiance untouched, I think you have a decent shot contested.
Yeah, but he's about to be ganked. Ace is going to jump forward with that Blink Dagger. Anchor already locking him down, trying to see if he can land the Meteor. He does manage to with a Swashbuckle to follow it up. Boom. They've got this kill. They're going to find this Radiance delay even further. You saw we have 3 different cores on Nouns that are all trying to get that next big item, but the pressure is mounting from Gaimin Gladiators.
And it's just Gunner who's really getting there. Looking for Heart on the Earth Spirit. I mean, he is massive. He still had a tremendous game here, 3-1, pretty much untouched. But all this objective gold is just making his net worth not look as effective as he wanted to, so he still just wants to fight. Gunner wants to slay here, give him an opportunity, set it up.
But how do you fight into this 5-man ball that's coming your way from Gaimin Gladiators?
I mean, you have to take the tower defense or the Roche contest. It's one of those two, which means every time you give a pick off like that Brewmaster, you miss one of those opportunities right now.
Right.
So Gunner, he wants to push into this Heart and take a fight immediately after. Also, you're rushing towards this Ags on the Pangolier. A lot of extra damage and tankability coming out, and you don't have Rolling Thunder control. So this Axe is gonna do work if you let Quinn get to it for free here.
Oh, jump onto the 2 of them.
Bravo!
Ravage with the Meteor.
Bravo!
Just like that, cutting 2 down right in front of your tier 3. Wait, who needs a Roshan?
Roshan, damn, he got in a bad part of the map to die on right now, as Mu is struggling to get to this Relic. An early Glyph as well is just gonna open up this entire lane. Solar Crest and Pipe done for Celery. This Chen is massive right now. Do you have the damage to take this fight? You're almost like all magic oriented.
Yeah. This tier 3 is going to be forfeited before they even get their heroes back up. They still need another 5 for the Brewmaster to get here, but Gaimin Gladiators will relent. They say, okay, we just did some serious economic damage to you, being able to kill 2 of your heroes. Once again, that Radiance is delayed. We've taken more and more property off the map, and now we could just go back to farming our side lanes again.
And the team items are just rolling in, right? I mean, Hector, at this point, he might be asking his team to, please, slow the game down. Just let me get to Scotty. We can take a good engagement, because right now, it's a lot to punch through. You give Ace another big team fight item here, and you're going to have to abuse buybacks at a certain point. You need some extra firepower. Ato's done for Lels, looking for the extra setup. Another big smoke, but you just got pushed in really deep in your base. Gaimin got obs in your base as well, so these moves are very telegraphed right now. Hector's just, he struggled to get these lanes in deep.
Yeah, big difference between, I would say, K1 Hector and his Terrorblade play and Duraccio. I mean, Duraccio would be running down lanes constantly. He would die sometimes for it, but he would achieve some space. K1 Hector playing a lot more conservatively, trying to protect his own net worth. And it does result in some lane problems here. They're going to go ahead and deal with the Tormentor, pick up a little bit of extra gold for one of their supports here. Almost killing Yamson, but Playlist is going to be the pickup.
Not a bad shard to get if you can make it work in the fight. Decent net worth for him.
Yeah.
Still looking for this Radiance on Moo. That's going to be the big one for Nouns. Is, I mean, they're finishing up that Scotty and Hart between the 2 other cores, so they're really ready to gun it here. Contest that Roshan, which still hasn't been claimed by Gaimin. If you can do that, you can turn a lot of this momentum around, put Gaimin in an awkward position where the high ground just doesn't look that appetizing, and then what are you doing on the map, right? What are you using with all these auras for? It's just a race to this 21, 22-minute mark. Are you fast enough if you're Nouns? Are you willing to even contest this? Scotty done. It's on a pretty damn good timing here. Man, Hector, he's big. This is where you want it all to align and just have it work for you. But Gaimin, they're just too fast here. You're not here in time. Early momentum, just the extra gold from the tier 3, the tier 2s that they claimed. It's going to propel them into this Roche for free. Who are you going to give it to? Give it to the real hero.
Bro.
They are going to give it to the real hero. Pango's going to take it. Level 15, just picked up a shard as well, so he's going to be tough to combat in these fights. He's going to get in there with his Rolling Thunder, and
it's a lot of damage.
Tons of damage. Just a question of whether or not Nouns can find that opening, right? Ace gets the anchor. Really good tool to be able to lock down these mobile cores. Earth Spirit's going to take some damage here, but nobody's rotating on the side of Gaimin Gladiators. They're just trying to scare him back because they're still making this move in bottom lane. Duraccio wants to keep the pressure up here. They still have this last remaining tier 2 in the bottom lane.
Vai se втора минута.
Stall. Cut as many lanes as possible. Stall this push as long as possible to put Hector in the best position to take that high ground defense fight when Gaimin will likely force the issue.
Yeah.
And just go in, try and... I mean, your burst is just so bad. That's the one downside. But you do have kickback here. And this is great lane cutting. This is going to put Gaimin in a position where you're losing some gold to force these plays. And if this high ground goes wrong, we've seen it go very wrong in this meta.
They're actually going to skip past this tier 2 because they want the pressure in here as quick as possible. Now, Layla's going to be in some trouble here with the Inkswell coming in from the Weaver. Caught by the Brambles, though. They have the Meteor Hammer. Lots of AoE damage. He gets off the Terrorize, but actually a roll-up from Quinn dodges that fear, and they immediately put the damage onto the ranged barracks. Melee's going to be dying soon. Nouns, they're missing their timing. They still don't have that Radiance on the Brewmaster. They're not quite ready to take this engagement, and Gaimin Gladiators are going to punish them for it. In fact, they're going to chase after Moo. Moo has to use the Primal Split. Otherwise, there was danger of him being locked down, but his Brew may be dying immediately. This last Brewling, it's in trouble. It's going to be chased down. He's gone. He's dead. It doesn't even matter if he has buyback if you don't have the Primal Split.
Go píše 40 sekúnd.
Still doesn't have the Radiance. That's your level 2 ult down in a flash before Hector was even willing to come back. This might just be another... I mean, the waves did get cut. That's the one upside here, so you're defending the base through the backdoor protection. But damn, you still have 3 minutes on this Aegis. You're just giving up too many core pickoffs here. The lead's not growing, but the momentum is.
Yeah, eventually a wave is going to be protected and Gaimin Gladiators will put damage on those buildings once again. You have to come up with a team fight somehow. Eventually, you cannot concede all of these buildings, but Gaimin Gladiators are giving no space to breathe whatsoever. A kick away, that's not good enough. The chain set of the Rolling Thunder is a problem for Gunner, and even stopping by to be able to stop the damage from K1 Hector. They stun him up, and then they retreat. They say meta has been used. Let's go ahead and make sure we have the space and we don't get caught too much like Quinn, who may be in trouble here, does have the Aegis, so this is just going to be his first life. Not a big deal, especially if he can get kills out of it. Moo and K1 Hector limping along, forced to use the Thunder here onto Ace, but they just do not seem to have the damage to threaten these heroes. People now are dropping like flies out here.
I mean, that's such a fast Shivas from Ace, just gets it on everybody. This attack speed aura really hurting Hector right now. But the damage, but not the speed to get through it in a second lane in 24 minutes. Now,
the only saving grace for Nouns is if they can get Hector out of here. They have this tier 2 up, but maybe it's not even needed. If the carry dies here, they might just be able to go straight for the throne. Leela's trying to limp back to the fountain. Will be able to make it. The cores, they're going to have to use some buybacks here. A kill on Darachu would be crucial to holding, and Nouns do manage to get that much.
Gotta get more.
Gunner chasing after him, doing what he can, but afraid of the turnaround. Yams is going to try and lend him support here. Sets it up with the Sprout. Do they have enough stuns to control this Pango? A silence fall went up, and they do manage to get him 2 cores on the side of Gaimin Gladiators as they overstep themselves, daring to tread close to the staircase of the fountain.
Those are big kills, almost 3,000 gold total, so at least you're getting something on the backswing. But like you said, still just not a entire team fight put together for Nouns, right? We haven't seen it the whole game between the Radiance Brew, which is still not just finished, by the way.
Final.
Thank God I don't have to pray for it anymore. But now you have Radiance Brew online. You have to get these ults in sync. That's been the biggest problem. Ace is just continuously forcing the issue before you're ready to take that straight 5-on-5. I mean, he instantly put that Shivas to use on the back end, and if you don't have all 5 heroes there, you lack the damage right now.
That's just the difference in Edwards, despite the Midas pickup between Moo and Ace.
I mean, Moo and Celery at this point, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about Chen accelerating these games. Hero benefits so much from these Raxes going down because it just sets you up for an entire other team item. Vlad's done as well, buffing up the damage here across the board. This is where this hero is absolutely terrifying, and looking down the barrel of Megas, it's going to be a hero you're thinking about game 2 no matter what. Because once he gets to control the game like this, it just throws you into a tough position. Going to look for a core pickoff of their own.
Big if they can get it. The Inkswell is going to be able to help out Quinn. He rolls up, turns around now with the Rolling Thunder, and it's going to be Nouns who are now on the retreat. Caught by the Soulbind. Does manage to get out the Primal Split, though, and thanks to Gunner's hearts, he does have plenty of HP. Caught here on the river, but do they really want to go for the Tidehunter first? He is untouchable.
Absolutely invincible at this point, and Ace knows that this is not even a fight Hector showed up to.
He's going to chase after Moog here, see if he can get him.
Darachu on the
with
back.
The anchor on his way out. Now the real Brewmaster is revealed. They do manage to jump on Darachu here. And they turn this around. The BKB activated to buy Darachu, but a Glimmer Cape might just get moved out of here. Darachu searching, won't find anything. Ace, he's not going to jump in. No need to at this point in time. They still cannot hit that bottom lane, that final lane of barracks just yet. There's still this tier 2 in their way. So.
Yeah, look at the top wave. Hector got it all the way in. So you have a catapult pressuring the tier 2 for gaming right now that Darachu has to go back and clean up here. I like that fight a lot better than some of these other pickoffs though, right? Especially the one we saw right by their tier 3 that translated into breaking that base first. You take a fight on gaming side of the map, even if it goes a little wrong for you like that, you're not getting punished for it. And now maybe you can create an opening elsewhere with Darachu having gone back to the other side of the map. Gaming missing some heroes here.
Yeah, this is a big slip up here for Gaimin Gladiators if they lose these heroes. There's so many from Nouns being brought to the table. They need to be able to lock down Ace, but he's so tanky and he had the mobility. The Force Staff, they're going to try and hit this Terrorize onto Quinn. Couldn't roll up in time. Gets hit by that first. The chain stuns are here. Gunner locks it down, and there's another pickup for Nouns. Another breath for Nouns to take in this game.
That's a very big one, and it's a great read of the map. This is all Hector setting that up. He gets that top lane in, you take a fight, nobody dies, it gives you room, and then you get the punish on the other side of the map with Gaming not respecting the fact that, hey, there's an unlimited chase down hero on the side of Nouns, right? That is the power that Earth Spirit gives you with the new stones.
Yep.
Gunner's gonna chase you, he's gonna catch you, he's gonna sink somebody into the dirt here. That's more gold into Hector's pocket, more damage coming online. If you can get to the full Silver Edge here, all of a sudden your front line goes away if you're Tidehunter.
Right.
The control can suddenly be there, you can chain stun Ace. The armor's still gonna be a problem, but you're starting to find the solutions here, and this lead back down to 9K. This is all you're trying to do in the game right now if you're Nouns. keep the economic damage to a minimum and prevent Gaimin from getting to that last lane of racks, which is going to make the game a real uphill battle if they get a free Megas.
But you know, Gaimin Gladiators, they see these pickoffs, and it is a wake-up call for them. They're going to go ahead and try and clean up the lanes, but they're also going to group up a little bit more.
Gunnar trying to break the smoke here. Does get scanned, so Ace knows.
Roll away. Is it in time? Gets him on the anchor. Nobody's going to be able to deal with this. Oh, good force tap down. They need to be able to deal with this anchor still. Earth Spirit this far away. He still has that heart. He's pretty tanky, but Dyrachyo is shredding him pretty quickly. Does manage to roll outside and into his base. Dyrachyo just not quite in front of him. And that's going to be a BKB used.
Yeah, that's all the way down to 6 seconds already. I don't even, it doesn't feel like we've seen a fight where he got to use it at all. And it's down to the minimum. That's how much Nouns have been cutting out this fight. And another fight where Ace did not want to pull the trigger on the Ravage there. Feels like Gunnar's either slightly too tanky or maybe he has a buyback and they get in a weird, awkward position. But like you're talking about breathing room, that's some more breathing room right now for Nouns as they hold this game steady. And now they're looking for their own pickoff. Once more, Gunnar will find the catch.
With this beautiful combination, Bedlam rolling boulder, but the heroes are tanky. He got off the pipe, and now it's a problem. Gunnar, half health, rolling thunder, completely shutting him down. No way to be able to get out. Now they're scrambling here. K1 Hector, he's going to be in some trouble.
He's back from Gunnar.
Trying to fight back into these heroes, but he is lacking in the teamates to do so. The buybacks are going to be coming in. They do manage to get off the thunder, but that bit of damage. Gunnar rolls back in. It's the stun, but K1 Hector needs to be able to retreat. This Tidehunter is constantly playing in his face, constantly slowing him down.
Man.
And K1 Hector, he's going to go for a desperate TP away. The damage is going to come too quickly, though. And now Nouns are left perhaps broken as they have 3 heroes dead with no buyback, and they do not have the lanes pushed in either.
That's exactly what Gunnar is trying to do right now. He says, Yamson, make as much space as possible. I will try and clear up some lanes with this buyback that yielded nothing. There's just no damage on the board here. Ace just runs through all of them, does not give a damn.
Yeah, but
Dyrachyo gets to clean up.
It's just so much different, right? The pickoffs on the Pango when he's alone, sure, damage looks okay, but then you get these 5 heroes all grouped up around this pipe and these auras.
And that was a fight where Gunnar found the Chen first. This is supposed to be the target you want to kill at the start of a fight. 2,000 HP with pipe, Vlad Solar. It's not even that easy. Hell, even the Ogre Totem doing some work here for Celery. He's just way too beefy. This is a beautiful Chen game right now as you are running out of damage. If you ever had it on the side of Nouns, that's going to be a 31-minute Megas.
And I love the fact that they just back away immediately. They're going to deal with further objectives. They've got Tormentor. They've got Roshan coming up. They are not going to give an opening to Nouns and let them climb back into the game like they did earlier. Learning from those mistakes, they stay grouped up, and they will back away. Roshan is going to be spawning in just 15 seconds time. And Nouns, well, they're going to have to be playing against Megas for the rest of the game.
We have seen our fair share of Megas come back. At TI.
True, but I'm not sure if I've seen any this early. 32-minute Mega creep.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
If Nouns is going to make that comeback, it's going to be a long haul game. It's going to be another 40 minutes or something like that, which we've seen a lot of those games. But again, Gaimin Gladiators, that's just not their MO. They don't let you get to those late games if they can help it, and they're a great position to be able to end it as they take this Roshan, get the extra Aegis and Cheese. One final push is all it can take.
I also just don't see what's changing the paradigm in terms of Ace walking into 5 of you and going, what's up? Yeah, I mean, what has been the answer from the entire game? And it's supposed to be this silver edge on Hector. I think that's the one big difference maker here. Get the break in, and then all of a sudden you can stack the magic damage, the magnetize, all these debuffs on Ace. Maybe you have a chance of bringing the Titan down. But damn, it's just gotten delayed here as Hector is still searching for the damage, still searching for the levels as well. When you don't win the fights like this, you just fall behind. He's only level 16.
Yeah, and we're seeing the
17.
The carry ability of the Weaver. You talked about how this hero scales so much better than maybe it used to. He's got an MKB complete, and he's now level 20, so he's got the plus 90 Geminate attack damage.
Plus the shard. This is just a huge power point for Dyrachyo. Absolutely going to shred all 5 of you in the fight if he just gets the Sakuchi through. Nouns will take the smoke wrap. Pretty heads-up play if they can find the supports on the backside.
What are they looking for here?
Grimstroke, Chen, that's it. Gotta find the squishies, take them out, get a numbers advantage.
Supports are bust, but they have the scan. Gaimin Gladiators made the read, and now they know they're outside of position here. They're immediately gonna pounce on it. Gaimin Gladiators read you like a book, and they will slam that book shut as they get these 2 pickups, and into the base they go to now finish it off.
Quinn just burning Hector's man out as well. I mean, everything is around Ace. Go with Ace. Follow his jumps. The man has led you very far. He'll continue to lead you farther here.
Once again, it's under you. Gunner, he just has to go in, but shredded. That heart doesn't mean anything for him anymore.
So much for a tanky meta. Yeah, game one in the books here with a very, very fast Chen lineup from Gaimin. And if you're Nouns, you're going into game two, you're thinking, how do we slow this team down? Like, that is all you're thinking about right now. Is it heroes? Is it players? Is it a playstyle thing? Do we need stronger lanes? More auras of our own? Something has to happen, though, because Gaimin have shown they're not afraid to push these games high ground 20 minutes.
That's the part I love.
If you don't have the outspam, if you don't have the lane shove, you just get pushed down.
Yep. I love the fact that Gaimin Gladiators are showing that there is a way to be able to punish most of the strategy that teams have been running with, which has been a lot of greed, a lot of hand of Midas, scaling cores, scaling supports. And Gaimin Gladiators are showing that, hey, there's a different way to be able to play this game. And you have to be prepared that this game may end before you're able to come online.
And this was with a lot of Nouns signature heroes we've seen them own with for a lot of this early tournament, right? The Brewmaster, the Earth Spirit, these heroes that are deceptively hard scaling in the late game if you can get there, but still have some mid-game prowess. They just couldn't muster up the damage to take down the front line here, and that's really what it goes back to. And yeah, all Ace all day, man.
Game one goes exactly how most people would have expected.
Oh,
with
it's
Goliath striking the first blow. 1-up for Gaimin Gladiators over Nouns.
It is the best of three, so there's always the potential for Nouns to be able to come back on our panel, though we had a little bit of a change up. Flight, you're going to be joining us here. You're going to be talking about this little NA showdown. Bring the faith for the Nouns fans.
Oh, yes. I'm here for all the NA action. You know, like either way, America wins today. So that's what matters. And also, hi, Seattle, by the way. So, nice to see you guys.
Hello, Fly.
It appears Seattle is saying hi back to you.
That's nice. That's nice. No, that was a fantastic showing from Gaimin. And my God, these guys are so good at this like early tempo game.
Yeah, we were worried that maybe just in general, not so much for Gaimin Gladiators, that when you put yourself on a timer, when you play this tempo, that if you aren't able to break that high ground, it's all going to crumble in that later part. But Gaimin Gladiators are able to perfectly execute that one for themselves. But the early game wasn't so strong for them, Rezo.
Yeah, I think Nouns played insanely well early game, and they got themselves into the mid game like pretty in a good position. But the way the Gaimin played the mid game was like incredibly well, and you understand that when the teams are like controlling every rune, when they're like pressuring this mid tower super hard, and like they know their timings exactly well enough to like, you know, understand this little moments where they can pressure and like, you know, win the game off of. Like this mid jump when Ace jumped on the two heroes, Mu and was it Lelis? It was like the game-winning jump for them. Like they turned the game like super hard in their favor after that moment.
And I mean, after that jump moment, Lucas, why weren't Nouns able to get anything else for themselves? Why weren't they able to take some of the map back for themselves, especially when you have a Nature's Prophet in post 5 that is able to split out those lanes?
Yeah, he did one hell of a job at some of these early engagements, these early rotations, but yeah, they were not punished. I think also going for really greedy items, you know, Hand of Midas into Radiance and also Hard, these are very expensive items, and Gaimin Gladiators, they know that this team is not going to slow down, and one of the reasons why they were so successful is Enchantress was banned out. This was one of the Celery's better heroes throughout 2023, and he banged out Chen. This was his second showing of Chen, and he looks really comfortable on the hero. The only thing that was changed, the way they played at the first start of the year, was, you know, he's not buying aura items on Ace. It's going to be Chen for now, so Celery took over that role, which does allow Ace to scale. Ace had tremendous game. Like, just all over the place, he died once. Same goes for Tofu. Both of them combined have only one death, which is pretty impressive. We talked how good and how strong their offlane duo is, and I think this game shows it extremely well. Like, just like, it's insane what they can do together.
I absolutely love the idea behind the Chen, because it relieves all the damage from like Earth Spirit and Brewmaster early on with all of like these heals, mechs like LEDs and stuff. Like, it's just like such a good pickup for Gaimin Gladiators. They created this hero, like, you know, comeback, made him come back, and they're showing to us like why it is so strong. They're ending every game like at 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal, their average win game time there. But for Chen, Fly, you're a bit of a Chen player yourself. He got 20 assists on it, so it's a pretty good showing for Chen. But how do we make him work, and why is it only really Gaimin Gladiators that have confidence in him right now?
I think they're just one of the only teams that's willing to go down this route, because most of the games now, they end up being pretty late game, right? Like you're drafting and you're aiming to play 40 minutes. You're going to play for second, third Roche. Chen is a different hero. Chen hits its timings pretty early, like 15, 20 minutes is kind of like your critical mass. You can take any objective super fast. Your laning stage is a little, like, not the best, but what they did is they picked a Weaver to make up for it. So suddenly you have a good laning phase with Chen. He was able to open up the small camp. He got a Harpy, which is basically what we're praying for as a Chen, as a Chen player. So I think they discussed this and they understand how to enable the hero, because that hero needs enabling. You cannot just pick a Chen and be like, yeah, that's fine, just go play Chen, like you would pick, a Phoenix. A Phoenix can do fine in almost any situation. Chen needs a very specific set of conditions, and these guys understand it better than anyone, and they're willing to do it, which is really impressive on the stage.
And when it works, it works. I mean, like we all said, they're able to close out a game in 30 minutes. We're going to hear, though, a little bit more information, a bit more of a breakdown, as we do have Purge standing by.
Thank you, Nat. Yeah, Gaimin Gladiators going for a very aggressive push strat with that Chen pickup in this game. And because teams are farming so long, it's important to keep your net worth high while you're doing this. So if we take a look at some clips here, we can see some of the things they did. 15 minutes into the game, they're sieging the tier 2 tower. The only way Nouns can defend this is by either grouping with a team fight or by counter pushing. They tried to counter push this, but what Pango does is he jumps in and zones out Gunner. This forces the glyph from the tower, and this allows Dyrachyo now to just escape towards the right. So while his team deals with the tier 2 tower at a surprising 15 minutes, he basically just gets to farm the rest of the map. So if we take a look at the space that is now his, it's basically everything here. This is all his space that he can get farm for on the map as he moves down there with the fast hero. So this means he gets to accelerate net worth. He doesn't get behind against the enemy carries, and his team gets to further map control and gain advantage. And that map control is what finds them those kills that allow them to go high ground. If their opponents don't have their cooldowns, they can't actually take the team fights, and that's what gives Gaimin Gladiators the advantage in this game.
Thank you so much, Purge. Nice breakdown there, and the visual cues as well. I always like it. Sometimes we're talking about team fights, sometimes we're talking about movements, and it's tough, but Purge having all the clips there with him is nice to be able to have all that information. And we've got some more information for you. It's about one of our teams currently on stage. It's about Gaimin Gladiators.
I've been playing games throughout my whole life, whether it was on Game Boy, consoles, eventual computer, like all due to my older brother and his friends that I just watched. I wanted to play and I got into it. I was backpacking throughout Asia for a year and I saw some poster of TI and some public viewing in the city. So I showed up there and there's all of, I don't know, 1,000 people, and I was like the only white dude walking in, so everyone was looking at me. People were like getting interested. I bought a laptop there. I started playing on a laptop. Then at some point back home in Germany, started studying. I'm like playing from the kitchen table or lying down in my bed. And eventually when they introduced the DPC leagues, I was like, Div 2? I can do Div 2. And then, I don't know, I eventually got ambitious and wanted to prove whether I can make it or not.
He's still alive, but not for much longer. Eventually he will fall to Tofu.
I started grinding into top 100, getting into games with pro players, eventually making contacts, friends.
The golem comes down, Omni-Slash cutting on through though. GG's are called, and the series will go to the Hellbear Smashers.
My first team was Hellbear Smashers back then.
Get Tofu though, watch Tofu, watch Tofu.
But I don't know, it's not really real if you're not playing against a real and big competition. From watching TI is like filled of hype and emotion, and you see these teams with like fireworks winning and sad teams losing, the whole spectrum of emotions you get with like eventually people lifting the ages and me at home at the screen watching, like shredding tears. Like it's so intense that you really wish to experience the same, like to be there. For me, actually making it there now is an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything else, and I'm really glad that I made it to the main stage, and I hope that I get the chance to lift the ages.
What a beautiful piece on Tofu, his upbringing around gaming, and the fact that now here he is, top 8 on the main stage, potentially even going all the way to top 6 fly.
Yeah, I think what he said is very true, because when you enter this competition, you get to TI, it's the highest of highs and lowest of lows, right? I've been in situations where I was able to progress further, or in this case, not so well. And it's so devastating, and it's also so amazing at the same time, right? So that is the spirit of competition, and TI is really where it's all at.
Yeah, well, we're going to listen a little bit more about that game one. We do have the comms, the team comms from inside the booth of the final fight between Gaimin Gladiators and Nouns.
Okay, we do not go buck wild on this push. We sit in formation and we make them run into us. They have to run into us, so we just let them and then we take the freebies when they roll in.
Stay off your chin. I have every aura in the game.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rush with Ravage. I'm just gonna hold a bit.
Yeah, we just can hold ourselves and we just chill.
Do you expect comms to be that calm fly?
I mean, that's a very, first of all, it sounded like very American, which is really funny. But Quinn said he's basically, sounds like he's leading this this high ground push or this situation. And I think that's really cool because this game really progressed to the point where cores have to lead later in the game. You cannot be a support and control the game. So he made the call, just take it easy, let them run into us. That is a very calm and collected and very cool call to make.
And take freebies, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was going to start looking towards game two, so if you want to talk about game one still, Rezo, please.
Well, I mean, there's not much to talk about other than like how well the Gaimin Gladiators played and how like much transition needs to be made for Nouns to win the second game, right? I think they need to make some strategies pop up their sleeves. Like they need something new. Like maybe Dark Willow as a carry. They need something that just break the game. They need to break the game because otherwise Gladiators are gonna take the stable game and they progress very well with it.
How crazy is too crazy, Lucas? Because we liked the flair that Nouns have brought so far in TI and Road to the International. So where's the line? Is this it? This is your last game? Bring it out.
Potentially,
do that mid-ogre?
I think Nouns, they need to go back to how they've been playing throughout the DPC, playing at the major, the last major, and I feel like they need to bring out the big guns because if they want to play it super greedy, it's not going to work out against Gaimin Gladiators. They showed against 9 Pandas, they showed earlier when they played against them in the group, so they can speed things up, and we're talking about, 20 to 30-minute games, which is pretty impressive for this meta.
How do you guys normally prepare for Nouns during DPC on Shopify?
For Nouns,
like, are they the toughest to prepare for?
I mean, for us, it's always been TSM, to be honest.
Okay.
We've always lost to them throughout the years, and Nouns has generally been okay. We have not faced this Nouns with K1, which is different. But I think a big key for Nouns is definitely Gunner, because he sort of sets the tempo. It feels like he's the one leading the game for them. So if he can make calls, if he can hit the rotations, I think that's how Nouns is going to do well. And I think now the important thing is for their coach not to really panic. He should go back, talk to his players, look at it objectively. What exactly happened and what do we need to do for the next game? Like, don't overstress it because your backs are against the ropes. You're one game from elimination. You need to be able to be as collected as you can possibly be.
Yeah, well, Gunnar has some good stats for himself. So in a single match at this TI, he's ranking second right now for kills. So they've had a lot of good showings for themselves. And whereas, what would you want to hear if you were back there and you're like, okay, one game away from elimination?
I mean, I also would like to see that Lettuce have his hero that he can roam it and like set up the tempo for the game. Like heroes like clockwork for him, and maybe some Witch Doctor for Mu, because like Lelis is the guy who's making all the rotation happen and really helping the Gunner in making this mid-game rotations happen as well.
But also, Mu, I feel like if he's playing these heroes that get involved early on, that he's not on farm-heavy hero like Brewmaster, especially with the hand of Midas Radiance, because one of his best performances were on these like healing offlaners like Dazzle, Witch Doctor, and also Spirit Breaker. He really shines on the hero. Somehow, if he manages to get the hand on the hero, I feel like this is the hero that he's going to shine the most on it.
Look at the players walking back out here. They're all ready for game number 2. They've had the 10-15 minute break. They've got the reset buttons pressed for themselves now, and especially on the side of Nouns, there's a lot building up for themselves here. But either way, they've got to be happy with what they've done for themselves. Do you want to take any stabs in the back at what they said in the background? Quickly, Rezo?
I mean, it's mostly about the trust, right, at this point, because they need to understand like how to stop this machine that is walking on you and like pushing all your towers. Like you need to have heroes, like maybe even like a Keeper of the Light, like something that is stopping this push and like being able to fight this mid game and having this, you know, freedom to walk into the late game if you have that.
Look, they might have been talking about heroes backstage in that small break, but we do know that we have previously been able to catch up with Nouns and ask them what words they would give themselves if they were on the edge of elimination, which is what they're facing right now.
I feel like body language at that point is probably more important than actually saying a speech. If you look at your teammate and, you know, they're like slunched over and like kind of like, you know, they're stressed, like they're holding their head or something, like, you know, it can give off the wrong vibe. But if you look at your teammate and they're just confident, they're just sitting there, they're just chilling, it can kind of instill a confidence in the rest of your team, right? Like this guy is just here, you know, he's just playing. Because I'm a veteran, right? So it's like the younger guys, whether instinctually or not, are gonna look at me and try to like how's this guy acting? Like how is he doing it? I think that I kind of have to be almost like you almost have to be a role model in that sense. You know, I play with misery, I play with fear. And I remember thinking like these guys, they have habits, they've been around forever. Like whether I realized it at the time or not, like you end up copying them in a way. So I guess that's me now. I'm the old man.
Old man for himself over there, but the body language is the key. Apparently that's the indicator, Lacoste. When they were walking out, did you have a look at their body language, how confident they might be feeling from their walkouts?
Yeah, I didn't see anything, you know, that I should be too worried about. Maybe some slight nerves coming in because it is the first time that they're playing on the stage for a couple of players. But, you know, we've seen some of the comebacks. We've seen Bet Boom managing to make a comeback after losing game 1, which is the only one in the lower bracket. And they're going to need to speed things up, like we mentioned it a couple of times already. And I also want to see Hector on more explosive hero, something that comes online fast, that is not, you know, this troll. Rezo was, you know, aiming for this Slark potentially. It's not the best against this, like, dead ball, but, you know, if you're playing the pick-off game, try to, you know, get some of these early engagements going. I feel like these type of the heroes for Hector could work out.
Do you double down on the same tempo if you're Gaimin Gladiators fly?
I think they're going to have to see what trades are going to be in the pool because it might be different, but I think they're the team that does not shy away from taking the faster options. Like, nobody's going to first pick a Weaver versus a Brewmaster. This is like a Gaimin Gladiators thing. So it depends what they have prepared, and I think now it's on Nouns to change what they're going to do, and then for Gladiators to respond.
If you're in the Nouns position, Rezo, you've been there before, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be thinking about how to make my lane stronger and like look into the mid game. You know, this robust, have robust heroes that can fight back and no matter what, and not like, you know, not even like thinking about split pushing them. But I think Furion is not the best hero for them in that sense.
Maybe back to the drawing board for themselves, but the series isn't over. We do have game number 2.
Nouns versus Gaimin Gladiators. Game 2.
We'll be having a draft very soon, and I do know Gaimin Gladiators having first pick yet again. Fly, a bit surprised by that one?
A little bit. I think Nouns, like, they should see what Gladiators are doing. They're just banning their strong teamfight supports, right? They ban A, they ban Phoenix, and then whatever is left, which was this Nature's Prophet, is a completely different hero. It does not do anything those other heroes do, right? It's a very tempo hero. But with the way Gladiators are drafting, it's hard for him to even fight them.
I'm surprised Nouns went to the ban Necrophos because, as I mentioned, there's like so many counter picks to this Necrophos early on that you can pick, like Ant, Shadow Demon, like even AA. I mean, AA is banned, but like there's just too many of them that, you know, you can't really afford to pick Necrophos this early. So I'm not sure what is it for, really.
Probably it's going to be some like a mid hero for Gunner that loses heavily against Necro, some melee hero, because most of the time Gaimin Gladiators, they've been using this Necro on 23rd, 24th pick to a great extent because they know how to utilize it. They see, oh, there's no magic damage coming out, we're just going to bang it out and dominate the game. And also the build that Quinn went for is, you know, you pick up that shard, maybe a booster, Boots of Travel, and then turn the booster into Heart, into Aghanim Scepter, become unkillable.
I mean, there's something interesting that happens when you have a week break, because I've noticed this. So even when we played the first stage and we had to wait a little bit and play the second stage, that's when we sort of came up with this idea of like Dark Willow. It turned out horribly, right? But
unfortunately,
that's why it's interesting to see what changed, right? Spirit Breaker. I know Gladiators is probably the only team that was willing to give away Spirit Breaker, but suddenly, you know, Nouns aren't picking it either. Maybe it's just in this specific series, and we're going to see Spirit Breaker later in the day. But during this week, a lot of things could have changed when people scrim, because that's what happened to us as well.
Did you see how confident they picked that Spectre? They didn't take even 1 second. Like, they immediately answered this Dazzle.
I feel like they just wanted to ban out everything that was comfortable for Gaimin Gladiators in that early, everything that would give Spec a bad lane. And they're like, let's just insta-pick her. It doesn't matter if Gaimin Gladiators have first pick. Doesn't matter what they pick up for themselves. Spec is going to be our make or break right now.
Yeah, we wanted to see this Spectre being, like, the carry being more active. This is the hero that is active every minute at level 1 ulti, so... And this Necro ban makes even more sense. This is the hero that destroys Spectre. Spectre is a hero that plays on low HP, and also in terms of laning, you do absolutely nothing. This is going to be the potential off-lane Necro, and yeah, really glad that they got rid of it. And now they also have a backline jump for this Dazzle, so they have, you know, all you need is Vision Hero. We've seen throughout the TI that there's been a lot of these Vision Heroes, mostly Treant Protector, who's paired up with Spectre. He picks up that level minute 15 shard, and then provides Vision for Spectre so that she can get the jump.
We're going to see they're going to be able to pick that one up for themselves because Gaimin Gladiators having Dazzle. I feel like this team has a lot more flex in a Dazzle pickup. How do you rate the hero right now, Fly?
I think the hero is ridiculous, especially when we can play it in different positions. It's a lane winner. It scales into the game. It gives you objectives. It pretty much does everything. It's also a tinker for whatever reason. It becomes a tinker late game. We saw Ace play it.
Yeah, it was one of the
highlights. It was
highlights.
insane, right? That clip where he gets a blink across the map. And you can even play it as a support if you want, because it is a strong laner as like a very last resort. So Spectre, while it is good against Dazzle in the game in a very, like, you know, theory, you can jump the Dazzle, but you might get bullied in the lane, and Dazzle is also good at grouping up, which is something Spectre doesn't like. So it's sort of like a double-edged matchup for me.
Yeah, it looks like Gaming's not like gonna switch things up. They're gonna just keep going for this ball, super push with Dazzle already, like having all the auras and like protecting the backline. And as you said, like, yeah, this Dazzle is not your ordinary support Dazzle that Spectre can jump and burst, right? This is gonna be like super fat Dazzle with like BKBs and like 3000 HP, and it's not gonna be as easy to focus him in the fight.
This Grimstroke pick makes Spectre lane much easier because you have a kill threat. Usually, we've seen a lot of defensive lanes coming out with Spectre, but also the pairing is insanely good because you can, like, it was one of the Chinese teams that were doing this constantly, just Grimstroke following Spectre, and whenever she has ulti available, use that Inkswell, she uses the Haunt, and then you have extra damage, extra stun coming out, especially if Spectre builds into this early Urn of Shadows, which does allow her to pretty much solo kill the supports from 100 to 0.
I think this is it's a good Chen pickup because, again, Spectre doesn't like playing against a team that's grouped up as like 4 or 5 because you're going to sit there with auras and heals, and it's hard for her to kill anyone. So Chen is inherently good against Spectre. This does tell us that this Dazzle is most likely going to be a core position, right? It's going to be either offlane or mid, high chance. Because they picked the Tiny, I'm going to assume it's going to just be offlane. They said like, hey, Dazzle versus Spectre, free lane, let's just pick a Tiny, because Tiny is not the best hero right now, but if you have a hero like Dazzle in the offlane, it basically enables you to pick something like Tiny, which, you know, if you get a lane for this hero, he can be very strong. And I also wanted to touch real quick, I think Grimstroke is actually a very weak position 5 in laning. If you can get out of the lane, the hero's great. He has amazing spells, but he's actually a very weak laner in my opinion.
I love this Tusk pickup for Lilith. That's the hero I was talking about that he can roam with and set up the tempo for the game. But I'm not sure about this Gaimin Gladiators pickup of the Chen, because it seems to me that they're double downing on the, you know, the auras and the push with the Dazzle, and they're liking, like, those 3 heroes are liking in damage for now. So they need to pair it like really well with some hero that has constant damage like Terrorblade, and if they don't get it, they might have troubles in the mid game phase.
How do Grim and Tusk fare as a support duo then, Fly? Like, if you're playing the Grim and you get a Tusk as the other support duo, do you like this? Do you want to be playing together a lot more, or how do you enable those 2 supports?
So Grim is definitely enabled in this game. First of all, to what Rezo said, you know, they already picked Darks here, possibly anticipating that Terrorblade, so that was kind of a cool call. But Grimstroke, we saw this Grim Spectre combo before, where you Inkswell the Spectre and then she ultis out. That's a really cool way to get Spectre into the game, using that potential. And then you can also play with the Tusk as well. Ooh, Lone Druid, alright.
It's a lot of push coming out from here. Gladiators, a lot of heal, a lot of sustain. Really worried because Nouns, they have very limited amount of damage coming out. It needs to be this Darkseer popping off. Also Grimstroke as a hero, as a position 5, you want to max out your Inkswell. This has always been the problem with the hero because you want to max your other abilities. You see this push coming out, the extra units. You want to max out your Q, but most likely not going to happen because of the value that you get from Silence. So Darkseer at least is going to have this like one lane out push. They're really strong at getting the pickoffs with this Inkswell, Spectre, Iron Shell on one of the heroes, but Gaimin Gladiators, I don't think they're going to be, on the side lanes as much as Nouns would want them to be.
It reminds me of some of the TI4 vibes, right? When when we saw the heavily like one team coming with the heavily push strategy, and it's like the Gaimin Gladiators in this tournament. They're like doing some things that are like no other teams is doing, right? So, but I'm not really sure like how you can push without like having a team fight, because right now their lineup doesn't have really a good team fight. They only have like auras and like tower damage, but like what is there to like stop this Spectre running under your supports and killing them with the Darkseer and like insane teamfight that Nouns already have on their lineup.
Yeah, I think it's a different concept, because what they're doing is basically saying we're gonna get a gold lead, and this gold lead is gonna be our team fight, because you do have all these items in the game. You have pipe, mech, drums, Vlads, all these different auras like drums of bearing. And that is basically what your team fight is. And what I can see happening this game is like they're aiming to win lanes again. And these guys have a Grimstroke 5 of a Spectre. That lane is going to lose, right? This Darkseer hero, he usually loses his lane too, especially if these guys are going to put Lone Druid against Darkseer. They're going to win that lane to enable Chen again, just like they did with the Weaver. I can see this being a Chen Lone Druid lane to enable the Chen. They're going to use that gold lead to group up. When they group up, Nouns only has one option. They have to get in there. They have to get into the center of the fight. They do not have deep push, right? You said Grimstroke is going to max Inkswell. He's not going to have his max Q. They have to jump everyone, cast their abilities, and hope something dies. And I don't think they have it right now. Maybe it'll change in the last pick.
Yeah, I mean, for Gaimin, they need to play this game like pretty much ideal, like to make sure that there's no like random fight popping up on them, and like they lose and then they lose their timing, and then the game becomes like super random. Like they have to make sure that they are collecting all the runes, going tower by tower, and like not giving this random opportunities for the Nouns.
I'm looking into one hero for mid lane. That's Keeper of the Light. We talked about, maybe some position 4, but I feel like this hero could really work well in the mid lane because he builds into Spirit Vessel. It's a deep push, lowers the cooldown on some of the abilities of Spectre. If she manages to, stall this game for 30, 35, 40 minutes with Chakra Magic, all these auras buffs on top of it, I could see them, maybe even taking it.
Is it Invoker coming out? That's a Ricky ban right there. That could definitely fit the tempo of what they're doing. They're going to Alacrity this bear. This bear's going to go wild. He's going to just maim the towers down. I can see that being something they would go for.
Yeah, I love the Invoker suggestion. Just historically, he's been really good against Darkseer. It removes all of his like shields and surges. Oh, wow.
Okay. What does this mean then? What do we have here?
Okay, look, I was going to throw it out there because I didn't know if it was ever possible, but will we ever see Quinn going on Dazzle mid, or potentially a Lone Druid mid, sort of a BM towards Gunnar, because Gunnar does love his Lone Druid mid too.
I don't think we're going to see a Lone Druid mid, but I think now... So I was wondering this because Ace is known to be a Lone Druid player.
Yeah.
But when they picked Lone Druid, I thought this is a good matchup against Darkseer, so maybe, Darachi is going to play it. But now I can see being a Lone Druid offlane and Dazzle mid, and this Alchemist being just safe lane against Darkseer, because Darkseer does typically give your carry a free lane.
I think it's might be Alchemist for Quinn as well. Just like looking at the matchup, like if he's gonna have a free matchup mid, he might play it mid, because Lone Druid is, as you said, like it's really good against Darkseer, so there's no point of like switching it from there.
Good thinking from Gaimin Gladiators. They don't have the last pick, and they have like multiple options left what they want to lane in this mid lane, which Nouns, they still have to show it, because I can see them winning this off lane on Gaimin Gladiators no matter what they decide to put there, whether that's Dazzle Tiny, whether that's off lane Lone Druid plus Tiny, so they have a lot of options in their sleeves.
And this is why this Dazzle hero is a headache to draft against, because they have to pick a mid hero that's not bad against Dazzle, and there's not many. Those melee heroes like Kunkka, Earth Spirit, they're all bad. So maybe that Coddle suggestion is going to come out, because that is a hero I can see stand against all the potential mid laners. I'm not sure really what else is that good against Dazzle. It has to be a ranged hero.
I was looking at any other ranged heroes that Gunnar has played in so far in the Road to International. The only other one was Invoker on that list, and everything else was melee, which he already said that he doesn't want at all for himself.
Pretty much comes down to Invoker at this point. Maybe some Queen of Pain, but not that hot. Oh,
it is going to be the Coddle. Yeah.
All right, well now, was that last pick enough to tie all of Nouns together in your eyes, Fly? Their draft has filled in all those holes that you pointed out when they were 4 picks in.
I'm afraid for them, because I do think they chose to pick weak lanes against one of the most laning dominant teams in the game that punishes you for having weak lanes. So I have to go with Gladiators. I do think the Coddle was probably the best pick they could have done though in that situation.
I also love the Alchemist pickup, because the Nouns can't really pressure this Alchemist this early. So he's going to have like a free lane and a free game.
And also it's a bit of a security for them if it comes down to the mid or super late game, which Nouns are very famous for playing these 60-minute games. So they're going to have some security coming from the Alchemist, really good scaling. So they're not necessarily going all in this like 30-minute push.
All right, we had a lovely draft panel there talking about everything that was picked up, and it does mean that we have one more person to hear from, and that is Gaimin Gladiators coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the dominator of the DPC. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for CY. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, obviously.
Ah, fantastic, fantastic. Last game, a lot of comfort heroes coming out for your opposition, but a few comfort heroes for you as well. How confident were you in that last series?
I would say after draft, I felt pretty good already. And when I saw the tempo we could put in the game, I was even more happy.
All right, well, speaking about tempo, they got the first pick, Spectre. Now, I know this hero's been exploding in pubs after the Road to the International. You guys picked a very aggressive lineup, not only against that, but in your team push in general. How do you feel about your draft? What are your chances of winning this one?
Our chances, I'm not going to give you any number, but I feel pretty good about this draft, I will say. So, yeah, I hope we go for the W.
Just one number, please. Just one. Out of 100, just throw one out.
70.
70%. All right, you know what? That's passing. That's how I graduated college, my friends. Let's throw it over to the casters.
Well, hopefully we're going to be able to do more than 70 for this one. Game 2 of Nouns versus Gaimin Gladiators, and there's no other way to say it. That game 1 was a stomp, Avery.
Yeah, that was a bit of a one-sided exchange, but of course that's the nature of those lineups, right? I really don't think Nouns necessarily played that game that bad. I just think if a couple things go wrong, you fall behind. That's how that game's going to go, right? There's no real stopping the ball once it gets rolling. And, hey, they decided to give it back to him game 2. So the confidence off the charts here for Nouns as they say, you know what, you can have the Chen again. You can have your push lineup. We're going to be able to combat it a lot better with some more outspam, some faster heroes, and hopefully as good of lanes. Because honestly, we were talking, those lanes didn't go that bad for Nouns. Like, all things considered, it was an okay laning phase, right? They weren't ahead, but they didn't get run over. Yeah. It's just the speed at which those auras came out and the pace at which Ace ran down these objectives was way too much for those heroes to combat, particularly Hector on the Terrorblade. So Spectre, I don't know if I was ever going to say this, but Spectre might be a little bit of a faster hero in all the metas we've seen. So
yeah, she's there now.
Hopefully Hector can get more
seconds, you want to be getting a kill somewhere.
Exactly. And if Hector can join all these fights, especially the tower defenses, maybe they can get a bit more going, particularly with the outspam they have. Coddle Darkseer can get the lanes in a lot more. It's not all on this Terrorblade shoving the wave. So Nouns have come up with some ideas on how to combat Gaimin, who are basically running it back, right? This is a Chen 20 to 30 minute high ground lineup. No way around it. They want to dominate lanes, get out to a big lead, and go high ground with the Alchemist and a bunch of sustain behind him. Chen Alch always makes an appearance on the main stage. In fact, now that I'm looking at this lineup, this is like an OG lineup through and through, right? Chen Alch with the Tiny to boot. Yeah. And a couple cheese heroes. What more do you need?
I think that's one thing about this lineup, though, for Gaimin Gladiators is I do feel like there's going to be more opportunity to play for pickoffs against them, right? Gaimin Gladiators, they did a really good job of like grouping up as 4 at some point in time, and it felt really hard for this Earth Spirit to be able to roll in and take like a full team fight against them. But here, you know, you've got the Lone Druid and Alchemist who are both going to be farming a decent amount, and we've got a Quinn Dazzle, which I don't know how you feel about that one. Lelis in game said Bronze Hero, calling out the fact that Quinn doesn't necessarily have the most experience with this.
I agree. I don't know if I've really ever seen him play it in a meaningful match where a lot's on the line. This is not Quinn's powerhouse for me. It's generally the spirits, the mobility, the Pangolier, the cheesy heroes that win you a lot of MMR that you can spam 1,000 times in a row like Leshrac. You know, Dazzle just hasn't been there for too long, so we'll see what he can do on it. But this is a pretty free matchup for Gunnar as long as he can keep blasting the waves out. And if you can get a fast Vessel in this game, it's a great Vessel game, right? You're looking at a lot of healing coming out from the side of Gaimin. You wish you had an Ancient Apparition, but that's the next best trick. Dueling top, getting a lot of damage on Dyrachyo early. Don't exactly view Darkseer as a good Tusk combination, but I guess double the punch.
Yeah, if you manage to get the shard in, lock him in against the double ion shell, there's definitely opportunities to be able to kill this Alchemist, though typically it means you're just pushing in the lanes. Oh, they're going to group up a little bit. They stay out of vision. Oh, this is an opportunity now for a turnaround. If they hit him with the tag team, slow him down enough, but unfortunately they're just a little bit too far away on Laylas, so they weren't able to capitalize on that. But at least it does mean Dyrachyo missed, I think, 1 CS there, took some damage, has to blow through some more regen.
And the bigger thing is they're blocking up that small camp for Celery. Right. So you're limiting the Chen's really early options. You want to hopefully not get mana burn purge creeps. Those just decimate the Darkseer. Bear kill on 7 HP.
Oh, he got him in the end. Got him with the stroke, so Ace loses that one. They get a healthy bit of gold for Nouns.
That's really nice down here. These bears count for so much in the early game. Basically a hero kill, if not better. And now if you do find any connection on Ace, I mean, it's gone for a long time.
I think this combo is really interesting. They do a 5-position Grimstroke, but you know, maybe not the best laning phase power, but later on, you have this ability for Spectre to join in these fights anytime, 60 seconds, and you could globally just, you know, like, be next to Spectre, put Inkswell on him, have him jump onto some hero. There's a pretty good amount of kill power in just those two.
It's also deceptive. You just don't expect the stun coming out from the Spectre when he haunts onto you, so the other big one's like the Bedlam combo with this hero. We're seeing it being developed a bit more, but yeah, I do like this combination. Double dagger in the fight's never bad either.
But are you going to be able to get out of lanes healthy enough and powerful enough to go around looking for those kills?
That's the big
right
question.
now, it's not looking so hot. 7-1 in CS for K1 Hector.
Yeah, Gaimin definitely pulling ahead on the lanes here. Even mid is going a bit rougher for Gunnar than I would have expected. I mean, you have to rush boots in this matchup. You get to just push it out, but there's no small camps around mid anymore, which kind of hurts this hero's momentum. In a lot of the games I've seen Gunnar play it, this is slower than the ultimate mid-coddle patch that we saw. So you can't really measure him up to that standard. Still, you're going to be looking for a pretty fast bots into Vessel here. Will be bots first, potentially.
Yeah, well, Gunnar may have played this hero a number of times, as you alluded to. Not necessarily the best coddle mid-patch in the world, as Laylas and Moo trade a bit of damage here with Dyrachyo. This hero is not having a great time at the International. It's currently sitting at 28% win rate for the Keeper of the Light. Every single time I watch it, it looks kind of lackluster, Avery.
It's a hard hero to execute because you really need the items on time. You need to get the fights out of them. Otherwise, this hero is not doing much for you. A Boulder almost killed his Ogre Frostmage.
That was random. But what wasn't random, Celery made the read there. Placed a ward to be able to see this rotation coming out for the Grimstroke, Yamson.
Oh, we got another one. Okay, no worries here. Just double Frost Ogre Mage for the first 4 minutes.
See if they can block in Celery, but the support is coming in. 3 versus 3. Celery is likely to die here. Inkswell helps finish him off, and that is first blood. 4.5 minutes in, we finally see first kill of the game. Tofu, they'll chase him away, but damage already being done. It does leave Spectre in a 1v1 against Lone Druid. I don't know if this is any better than the 2v2. Feels like there's no situation where K1 Hector is happy in this lane.
No, this matchup just plain sucks. There's no way around it. You're going to get bodied in the one-on-one. You have no ability to fight back, no innate regen. I guess you could go an early regen item on Spectre, but honestly, there's just not much in the meta that people are building towards. So it's another game of like bend on the lanes, but don't break and get that one fight. I mean, man, this ice armor has done work top, but first blood for Moo is also going to be pretty damn nice here for Nouns.
Try for a kill here. The top lane. Get the stun off. Trying to block away Tofu, but he's close enough for the avalanche, and that's more than enough. Underneath the acid spray, with 2 heroes hitting you and a neutral creep, a healthy amount of damage. Moo falls in his lane.
And this is where Gaimin are happy with the lane setup right now because they're getting solo XP on their 2 cores that really want it. The Alec doesn't need it as much because he can just go back to the jungle and kill the stacks later for the net worth gain.
Sure.
And they're getting kills for their Chen. So they're boosting Chen in this position where your ball is going to be crazy strong at that 8 to 10 minute mark going into these tier 1s already. is shifting some of the onus back onto Nouns in terms of who are you addressing in this laning phase, because right now, all three of these
in here, pretty deep behind the tier 1 tower. Gonna toss away, but Gunner's a little bit low. Fortunately, did heal himself up with that Illuminate Blast just in time. Now Quinn is here to help out, and they're gonna be chased away. Gunner still trying to finish off Tofu, but the heals will be able to keep Tofu alive, no problem.
Hector getting rooted.
Oh, just perfectly timed for Ace. He even had the support coming in from the side. Wasn't necessary, but Celery was there for the backup.
And it should just be a fast tower push on this lone Druid lane, the way it's shaping up. Ace has also protected his catapult on this wave. Benefit of that pull on the other side, and the golems.
Yeah, killing that golem just gives you even more boulders to be thrown around.
And hey, a Bull Assassin on the main stage of TI, Cav. I bet you never would have thought you would have seen it. But the hero is here.
Oh, finally. I've been waiting so long for Avery to be able to talk about the Bull
the hero
Assassin
we've been waiting for. So many years in the making for this hero to return to Seattle, but it'll do some pushing damage here. Celery decides which side lane he wants to help. I mean, there's a toss-up, like, do you actually need the Chen down here for the lone Druid push at all? Probably not.
Spectre, it's 4.5. I was going to say, like, okay, maybe you can get level 6 soon and, you know, participate in some kills around the map, but this Spectre is having a jungle already. K1 Hector is going to be very, very far behind for the next 20 minutes.
You're gonna have to combine this Darkseer and Coddle at some point. That's the big one. If you can get it around the tower defenses, I think those fights can go pretty well for you. They're a lot better than the last game, draft setup wise. And it's really unlikely Dyrachyo joins those very early pushes, right? In that Weaver game, he can join those fights, and like even if he dies, it's still a numbers advantage, it's still HP you have to get through. Here, it is kind of just the lone Druid and Dazzle with the Chen. The Tiny is, you know, giving you some team fight later on, but he's not too terrifying in these early fights if he doesn't wrap on you.
And Dyrachyo is able to brave defending this tower kind of by himself. He's got the Chen behind him, but that's because he's hit level 6 already. Nouns know it's a tough target to go for, so they're going to try and find something else here. Quinn, he's going to be caught trying to hit the jungle. Good Illuminate Blast clips him there on the side, and Quinn will die. Nouns do successfully find an opening, and they needed it real badly because these lanes are not going well for them at all.
Time to dissolve him and get some skirmishing done.
Nice toss back into the bear. If he gets a root, this is all but guaranteed to be a kill on Gunner. Doesn't even need the root. The damage is there to finish up with the blood grenade. Yamsen's going to be slowed down with that diffuser blade. The inhibit going to work. Nice attempt there with the block in. Keeps the heroes out, even if the bear is still able to chase down Yamsen a bit. Maybe even chase him up down underneath the tower. No response from Nouns. They really just cannot seem to handle this army that's going to be pushing them down.
Yeah, out of nowhere, right? Ace, he took this bottom tower, rotates mid, has his next objective lined up, and everybody from Gaming just connects to it. A really great pick off on the Dazzle, but it just gets them lingering a little too long, and all of a sudden, you get one Coddle Blast to defend this tower, and it's gone.
You don't even get any creeps off of that blast. I mean, we talked about behind stage after game 1. We said, you know, like this Chen, I'm not sure if you could give that to Gaimin Gladiators. It does so much for them.
It is the best support in these types of lineups, and every time they get a game like this where it starts thrown away, it just looks scarier and scarier.
And Nouns, they may have thought they had a plan to be able to deal with that Chen, but unless that plan comes to fruition soon, they're going to be too far behind to be able to do anything to stop these pushes. Bear getting a little bit low there. Not much Move can do about it, though.
And the push continues. Ace, he wants all 3 towers by 10 minutes here. The last one will get defended, still full HP, so this is something that Nouns have to rally behind. Get their combinations online and going. And it is time for Hector. I mean, the upside of, you know, Ace making these rotations is, hey, your Spectre gets some free jungle time.
How free is it going to be, though, because he's immediately going to jump over to join on this tiny kill. Good timing, because Ace was just threatening him there in the bottom lane. So not only does he get away from a gank, but he also gets to join in on a kill. And that is the power of the Spectre right now with this new Shadow Step.
I don't know if Hector even saw Ace down there. I'm pretty sure he was looking at the gank, but that was an absolute kill on the Spectre because Diffusal's already done for the lone Druid here. So he quite literally dodged the bullet, gets a kill into a tower push. Pretty nice. And it's just about Gunner keeping the lane equilibrium. He'll rotate bottom to get the defense. So these tier 2s are going to be a bit harder to bring down, I think, for Gaming, unless they get the big pickoffs. Because you can always sit Hector in these positions, and the upside of Spectre is he can make the fast plays. He's also hard to go on, especially if you can get this Blade Mill out pretty fast. You can bait Gaming onto your Spectre, take the fight with the Darkseer and Coddle, giving you the damage from behind. And to me, it's all about this Vessel. Like, how fast can you get the fighting items on the Darkseer, but more importantly, this Vessel on Gunner to give you the kill capability on all the sustain that Gaming are outputting right now.
Yeah, if you throw in a shallow grave on somebody, they're getting these heals, they get a hand of God. It's a huge amount of burst heal. Oh, straight through the portal. There's going to be the follow-up here, though. The Tusk's going to follow in. Yamsen joins in on this as well, thanks to the Spectre. They're able to kill
and the bear
immediately and get the bear. Now they're going to be able to chase down Tofu on top of that one. So while Gaimin Gladiators thought they had the one up there, Tofu taking a quick pit stop to grab as many Lotuses. He knows he's dead, so he might as well get what he can off the map.
That is a great pickoff for Nouns. We also talked about this, Inkswell Spectre, the Shell Spectre too, with this low duration haunt. It's a great shell target in these fights. You can even shell him before, the jump theoretically. But that is going to be a lot of gold in the Hector's pocket. The bear plus the kill plus the tiny, basically for free. And I feel like already Hector's contributed more in this game than the last one. Didn't take much, but this is already helping your team so much, giving you a little extra boost here, particularly Moo, who's gotten most of these extra kills on the fights.
Slowed down quite heavily. K1 Hector is going absolutely nowhere. Sides back to the fountain, and his team is going to be too late here. Their Mako smoke rotation might be able to get the punish.
They want to keep killing Ace while he doesn't have this ult. It's a big window when you can take this Lone Druid down without having to deal with the true form.
Who is spotted? They slow down the bear. See if they can kill that instead. They also get the shard to block out Celery. So a support and a bear wouldn't be too bad, but they're only going to get the support out of it.
And a centaur and a little golem. Those count.
One last little golem.
You can see the rotation speed. The bots for Coddle is also enabling this. So you kind of have two global heroes, right?
Yeah.
It's another tool you can use to combat these pushes. Just don't let Gaimin group up because you're constantly taking small fights on these lanes.
Screwed on Quinn. It's going to be dangerous for Hector. Quinn opting not to chase him down. Can just kick Hector back out of lane for a little bit. He's playing so far forward.
Quinn's been quiet this game compared to the last one. I mean, he's gobbling up runes, he's farming on the Dazzle. It's just a different hero, different playstyle. That Ag's inverse Shadow Wave, it's coming. And it's gonna hit hard. This is a very powerful time for the hero. He, of course, can ultra scale into the late game, becoming Tinker 2.0 with Arcane Blink. So maybe some hidden scale for Gaimin if they really need it up the sleeve, but this is all about the timing push. So again, looking for the pickoffs, trying to slow it down. Wells will attempt to connect, or maybe just gobble up some creeps. Yeah, why not?
And take what they can. Nouns, they gotta find these pickoffs because you know what's coming. Gaimin Gladiators have an Alchemist farming away. They almost have the Aghanim Scepter like you talked about on the Dazzle. Lone Druid's getting bigger. Yeah. You can get these pickoffs with the Shadow Staff, but what happens when they get 5-man and they're ready to go?
Yeah, we haven't really touched on Dyrachyo. I mean, there's a good reason why he hasn't had to do anything. Yep. And that means he has had an absolutely free Alchemist game. He is Omega fat here. It's going to be a almost 16-minute BKB on top of Radiant's Phase Boots with Sustain to back him up. That's when that early Alch BKB feels the best because you guarantee can take the fight. Just punish them with your overwhelming net worth here. Back through the gate once more.
Quinn already teleporting away. Not going to be caught by this rotation.
Do a little smoke farming. But nothing else. Continuing to try and control the side lanes, create the space for Hector.
Take a little pit stops here and there while they're smoked up. Farm up these camps.
They didn't see anything, I'm sure.
Still nobody showing up, though, on the side of Gaimin Gladiators. They're doing a great job of dodging these rotations of Nouns, understanding that their timing is just going to come later. No rush for things.
Also, I like the Octarine rush on Moo as well. Just anything that gives you lower cooldowns, more uptime on the map, and helps you shove these lanes out faster is going to feel good right now.
Yeah.
You just want to get to that mid-game teamfight where Darkseer, Spectre, Grim, it's no joke, right? Especially when you throw Chakra Manas out on all these heroes, reducing cooldowns even more. It's a lot to deal with if you can't just sit there on the front line with your BKB timing.
Yeah.
Which is what Gaimin are aiming to strike with here. And that's a big question. What do you do versus the Alch BKB here with this type of lineup? You have Tusk Physical Burst, and you have Spectre can come in with a little bit, but otherwise Dyrachyo should be pretty untouchable. Especially with Grave behind him. I mean, that's it's even worse, right? You really want to find the backline here if you're Nouns. Find the backline, force a collapse, get a big vacuum, and yeah, if you can ever find Ace before that ult comes out, you're going to be really happy.
Do you think that means that, in order to actually literally see the back line so your Spectre can jump, does it require somebody to get in there? Do you think like Moo is going to join in with the Tusk, like some sort of Blink Dagger initiation, or do you think he just goes more for like these aura items and try and combat Gaimin Gladiators, who are obviously going to be sticking to that same game plan we saw in game 1?
I think you're looking at auras here. I mean, Blink is going to be really nice later in the game, but you know the fight's coming to you. I think traditionally you just go for the correct angle, right? Get smokes, get flanks going, find the backline by just wrapping, and Hector will automatically connect. And it's going to be a Radiance for him as well. So we'll see if he can have more impact with it than that Radiance from last game on Moo, which just got mega delayed, right? This is it's a risky item to go for here. It's a lot of gold to build up. A lot can happen in that interval where you don't have a fighting item coming out. But if you get there unscathed, it's going to pay off. It's a very good Radiance game to go in and start burning people.
See the farm build up between Dorancio and K1 Hector.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little unfair. You know.
The GPM is going to be obviously massively outmatched, but you could see there was just a lot more space for CS for the Alchemist.
And BKB's already done, and they're instantly smoking down mid with it. Dorancio wants to put it to use.
And he's going to go straight for the Spectre, straight for the enemy carry. Inkswell quickly dispels that stun. Good idea from Yamsin to rush that shard.
It's going to be pretty valuable this game.
B1 bottom lane. Moo trying to get out the shard, blocking him in. Oh no, Lelis, that wasn't what he wanted to have happen. Moo, he's desperately going to try and throw out a vacuum, but there's nothing to actually get off of that vacuum. The Spectre leaves. K1 Hector's like, you guys are supposed to be setting up for kills for me to be able to collect on, but there's nothing to actually get.
Global dagger. Will hit. I wonder if it scouted that smoke. Might have, honestly. Either way, a failed gank. True form goes off, and it'll give a window here. Blink on Tofu as well means that all these pushes, all these fights are a little more dangerous. You get caught, like Nouns got caught last game. You're just going to crumble really fast around these towers. Aggressive TP bottom from Moo when he knows they were moving here. He's tanky. I don't know if he's this tanky, though.
Round to tier 2. Is his team going to try and defend him here? The Surge is going to be running out, and Quinn might just be able to catch up to him. Another round, though. Thanks to the Octarine, the Surge is near permanent uptime for Moo.
No blink on Dorancio yet, though he'll buy it out now. So it's going to be multiple jumps from Gaimin. Just try and take the fight before Nouns are set up. And if one or two of these heroes go down, you're just looking at a very fast high ground again. The margin for error very thin here. You do have that Vessel up on Gunner. It's been up for a little bit here. He has double charge. This is generally where that Coddle would want to be taking the fights or finding big core pickoffs on the map. The downside in this type of game for the Coddle is he's great at dealing with the lane, but Gaimin are not going to split. So you're not going to find this like global pickoff presence between the Spectre and the Coddle. It's just going to be 5-man down a lane. In 18.5 minutes, they said the last game was fast. This one, it's going to be even faster. Let's see if you have the answer.
And frankly, it doesn't look like Nouns are ready for it. No Crimson Guard just yet on the Darkseer, which would do a lot to be able to dissuade this threat of the Bear. Gunner's trying to stop him, but the damage just keeps on chipping away from the Lone Druid. He's going to take that tower without much really needed from him. Wall in, that's pretty nice. Can they take advantage of it, though? They're still trying to go for that Bear. Toss back from Tofu, catching the Coddle. That's just what they needed to really ensure they can take this tier 3 without much loss. In fact, they're also just blinking in boldly, seeing what's up, getting some information down, and they're going to hit Barracks now.
Where's your damage? The damage test has returned to round 2. And you're once again just found lacking, right? The
Well, no dispel. Managed to put him inside the snowball. That allowed Moo to be able to get back, but the Bear is saved by the Shallow Grave. Even if they get the damage, go through all this HP, they still can't get there. Dorancio is going to clean up at least Yamsin, while the others limp back to the fountain. Barely alive. A lane of Barracks before the 20-minute marker. Gaimin Gladiators, they are not messing around here. They are kicking Nouns out of this tournament in record speed.
They are looking for the lower bracket speed run for sure at this point. Another toss back. Hector, you got a blade nail.
Nowhere, nobody to be able to bail him out. They'll take him down eventually. Harpoon pulling back in. Moo gonna be in some trouble. Knock up in the air. Once again, a snowball save is there, but this time around he can't reset. Gets off a vacuum last second, but there's no damage to follow it up. Gaimin Gladiators are extremely healthy. They've got the Chen heals. They've got the constant Dazzle heals. Quinn is sitting at 500 HP constantly, but there's nobody to actually jump him, nobody to punish him. They see all of these moves from Nouns coming a mile away.
And they also have double purge creep on Celery. These Satyr Banishers, they remove the Vessel, they remove the shells. All this damage that's supposed to come out from the Coddle and the Darkseer, it doesn't exist when these Banishers are on the back line. he even has the magic resistance aura, so these heroes are incredibly tanky at this point in the game, and the spells that you were supposed to have to deal with them just don't even exist.
I feel like I've never seen this in this current patch. In this current meta, a lane of barracks down before you actually take Roshan. Every team is going, they play it slow and methodically and is saying, let's get the Tormentor, let's get the Roshan, let's build up our advantage, let's get a 20k net worth lead. Well, Gaimin Gladiators get a 20k net worth by taking away your buildings, taking that lane of barracks. And Nouns, I mean, they're living on a prayer at this point in time. That's all they really got to them.
I mean, who needs Roshan when you don't die the first time?
Yeah.
All these cores feeling invincible right now. Nouns continue to search for answers, and they will take the Roshan. I mean, at this point, give the Aegis to the Satyr Banisher. Might be the best choice.
Keep him alive at all costs. Protect him.
Might be the only killable unit. It might be the most valuable in a way. It'll be a DD rune and BKB almost completed for Quinn. And this is also where Lone Druid just... He's a really strong hero at this point in the game. If you can get over this, I think we've seen a lot of Lone Druids struggle to scale in the current meta. I think the hero can fall off very hard. But right now with Diffusal Harpoon, which has generally been the meta build, that is when this hero peaks. So not only are you pushing very fast at 20 minutes, you're utilizing a hero that has struggled for a lot of other teams. And what do you do if the game just gets prolonged, right?
Yep.
And Moo still looking for that Crimson Guard, perhaps the biggest item in keeping their heroes in the fight, being able to take it. A pickoff would be a godsend right now as a shield room might prevent it.
That's going to be a problem, but maybe they can kill Tofu instead. Witty, pretty fast elimination there, but Quinn is now going to be joining in with the double damage. They really got to watch out for that one.
Hector stuck in no man's land.
He's stuck. Nowhere he can really go. They thought they could chase for more, but guess again, Duracio's here now to be able to get more pickoffs. Lelis is going to die next. Two dead on the side of Nouns, and a push that's on its way. Do they want to take the time to take these top towers or just take another lane of barracks? Honestly, the world is entirely open for Gaimin Gladiators. And it's not like they're going to scale down anytime soon. There's no threat of this lineup running out of steam. It's only going to get stronger in these next 10 to 15 minutes.
AC completed for Duraccio, so now you're getting some minus armor synergy with the Bear, with the Dazzle, with Juju coming through. These Shadow Waves are going to hurt. It will be the BKB completed for Quinn, and damn, that is a lot of building damage. It will also be the Crimson completed for me. So this is like your big aura item that's supposed to help you take these tower fights, get you back in this game. It has to happen now. There is no more breathing room. This is a final push. This is a push to eliminate you from TI right here, right now. You need a massive vacuum. You need a combination. You need to lock him in the shards, get an Ink Squall going.
And Gaimin Gladiators are showing no signs of slipping up. Look at their formation. All 5 heroes far away from the high ground and letting the Bear do its work at max distance.
And again, these Soulbinds, these Vessels are just instantly getting purged off the back line. There is no initiation power from this Keeper of the Light. It all has to come from Moo, and Lella's getting on the front line right now. Can wall the Bear. Looking for the back into the...
They're trying so hard, but he keeps him away with the avalanche move. Doesn't get that initiated.
We got 4.
Oh, maybe he does. Any follow-up to that? The blast goes out. Now Leela's tries to jump in, but they're also damn healthy. They're all grouped up, yes, but the Shadow Wave just instantly full heals them all.
Got one Bear out of it, so resummon from Ace.
Yeah, if they can actually get back to the fountain somehow, but K1 Hector, he's going to be slowed down. Not Gaimin Gladiators isn't worried about him. Maybe they will. They're going to get the toss back and finish him off that way while taking the buildings in style. Gaimin Gladiators, they're ending this one right now with 40 seconds left on the enemy carry. Not that he's much of a factor, to be honest. Ah, the Harpoon pull him right back in. No force step out of this one. Gaimin Gladiators have all the answers to Nouns. They are giving them absolutely no room. They didn't just choke them out, they knocked them out in one punch.
This was pretty much a slaughter. I mean, there's just no fight back. Way too fast, way too quick out of the gate. Every objective down again by 25 minutes here. You're gonna have a found defense, but of course, the Tiny's not only gonna toss you back, he's gonna toss you straight out of the tournament. As Nouns will be defeated in a swift 2-0 as Gaming show why they are still one of, if not the best team in the world over the course of the year.
And they do it their way too. They do it with a strategy that not many are employing, and they put it to really good work to Nouns here. I mean, you've got to be able to come up with better answers against this push strategy. The Gaimin Gladiators and Nouns, they thought they had it, but it proves when push comes to shove, the push certainly wins.
But hey, I mean, this is a team not many people had in their top 8. Not many people thought would go this far in the first place, and I think they surprised a lot of people. I think they came together in the end. This is a team that formed their roster very late as well, had to overcome the NA demons to get here in the first place. And hey, they showed they're still here. They can play some good Dota, and they have some strats of their own, which is what I respected most about this team. They weren't afraid to play the heroes that they felt were good, not what everybody else thought was good, and they'll go out with their heads held high for sure, as this was a tough opponent to go in an elimination match on the first day of the International.
And Gaimin Gladiators, their heads are going to be held even higher as they're going to be making their lower bracket run starting here at the International by taking down Nouns.
A massive congratulations to Gaimin Gladiators.
Bravos,
they now are a top 6 team. They do get that 2-0 over Nouns. And whilst it's only one series that we're going to be seeing Nouns for here on the main stage, it was still a great showing. They fought right until the end, having to play in front of all of their fans here. But Fly, this game went pretty much how you expected it to when you saw the end drafts.
Yeah, I honestly, I was very worried when I saw the draft, how it developed, because I felt like they're doing the same thing they did game 1, which is just not put enough emphasis on being able to win lanes, fight back, have a gold lead at 10 minutes. It pretty much went exactly how Gaimin Gladiators wanted to play. And you know, you're waking up for a 10 a.m. match, you're playing Gladiators, you know these guys are gonna come hard at you, you need to be ready.
Yeah, but then the first pick spec was really rough to kind of look at as well, Resso. There wasn't anything for the Spectre to take any traction with, nothing to get him going.
I mean, they tried to find this active hero that can, you know, fight back like very early on, but there's like, after the laning stage, they couldn't really fight a fight. Like, there was like pick-offs here and there, like very small ones, but they had to like, you know, make this big fight happen, and just literally they didn't give it to them. They're just waiting patiently for their timings, and as soon as they got it, they just deathballed, and they just snowballed anything out of control.
How could Nouns have found those pick-offs? Like, what did they need to improve on? Is it the